48 seats for the Conservatives.
48
48
seats
for the Conservatives.
Yeah.
That's calling it pretty tight.
I'm just gonna give you a little bit of background on that. A lot of public sector union members got vaccinated without liking it, and they're not going to say anything, even in their group of friends. If they say anything, they'll be disowned. They spent their whole life. They got a 7 years till a good pension. When they get in that box, and they're like, you know what? All that ridiculousness around COVID, and they're just going to vote because no one knows who they're voting for.
Well, that's what I was just saying before you came on. The Conservatives are leading among that general, I guess you would call it trade job type employment. The people who went to technical colleges, they're leading by 20 points with those people. The NDP only has like 35% with that demographic. The Conservatives have like 55.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm talking about Liberal and NDP voters from the past that are public sector union members that were not comfortable with the way the vaccination requirements, and they'll be very quiet about it because it'll destroy their social lives and their professional lives if they go woo Conservatives. They're going to vote that way in the box because no one knows who to vote for.
Just for perspective, there's 93 ridings in British Columbia. I'm right on that number, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying with the 48 seats for the Conservatives, that would leave 45 for the yes.
I think it's going to be three. It's going to be 2 or 3 Greens. I really hope Sonia Firstno gets on. She'll be a great person to have in cabinet. I think it's going to be 42 plus 3 and 48. So it'll be Conservative majority, barely.
That's so slim because they'll have to make one of the people the speaker.
Yeah.
Unless they can get then everyone has to travel wrapped in bubble wrap with helmets on, so nobody dies.
Wyatt,
nobody gets vaccinated. If we're only
IVR versus online,
nobody gets vaccinated.
What's your thoughts on the IVR? Because there's a massive discrepancy between the IVR and online polls in this election.
Well, that's actually the differences between IVR and online, and I'm stealing this a little bit from Chris at the Great Canadian Bagel podcast because he's a far better poll analyst than I and many other people are. He said the big problem with onlines is after United went away, there was a big chunk of voters who basically disengaged from online voter panels because online voter panels, you have to have their data to be able to email them asking them to poll you. And Leger actually uses a panel where it's like called Leo or whatever. People sign up to take surveys, and every once in a while they'll throw you an election survey at random, but it skews one very downtown and very left in general. Usually people with university degrees, that's actually the thing that Main Street even finds. Even Main Street has 50% of people answering their polls have university bachelor degrees or higher. But that's only about 35% of voters have bachelor degrees from universities. So they always have to weight that group down. Online is even worse. And that's where we see both in Alberta in 23 and this election, all the onlines are showing the interior and north poll like really close, like 38 Conservative, 36 NDP, and a bunch of undecideds. Like, that's not realistic. That's when you have to stop taking a poll seriously, when it doesn't even sound right. Like, if I saw a poll tomorrow in Alberta showing the Edmonton Tide, I would say, do the poll again. I don't believe you. I'm not just saying whether or not, it doesn't, my side doesn't like that poll, it must be fake. I've seen bad polls that for my side that are 100% accurate. Janet Brown just released one in Saskatchewan. Wasn't fantastic for the Saskatchewan party, but I'm never going to bet against Janet Brown.
Yeah.
Boys, I want to let Clyde Nichols in. He's been hanging out in the background. I told him top of the hour. Sorry, Clyde. And, we're having a little bit of fun on this side.
We're only 5 minutes off. That's pretty good. 2 hours in.
I feel like we're doing okay. Once again, I am going to say this before I bring him in. As we slide in, I see Alex Zoltan sitting in the background. We'll get to you in a couple minutes as well. We'll probably, I don't know, we're going to have 5 of us in here. Are we worried about it?
You know what? It's our show.
We can do it however we want. So I guess what we're saying to Liam and Wyatt is if you
run this by.
Yeah,
I was just going to say they have some election results out, and let's just call it here because Conservatives have 53% of the vote. We won 2 seats. Let's just end it on a high note.
Okay, so if we're starting to get some results in, let's bring in Clyde.
Okay,
and then let's go to the map.
Host of the Clyde. Well, Clyde, do something. All right, Clyde Nichols, get in here. You've been waiting. Come on,
Hey,
Clyde.
see ya, man.
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for the invite. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this goes tonight.
Well, how's it been going for you? You said you voted. How many times did you vote?
I fought the atmospheric river that's come in here. We used to call it the Pineapple Express, but we got new names. There's scarier names. It almost made me vote watermelon, but no, I cast my vote for the Conservatives, and yeah, I feel great about it. I think it's fantastic. I'm excited.
Excellent. Okay, can we go to the
Is there anything up on the map yet? There's
Okay.
nothing up on our map
All right.
just yet.
the map? The map doesn't have enough data yet to start populating, even if some of the preliminary stuff is coming in. We could probably, if you guys start talking, I'm gonna look at BC election on
Right.
the
So
website, and we'll
I'm
see where.
looking at global news right now, and they're
Oh,
probably, who knows, they're jumping the gun right now. They like to do things like that, but they're
just
they're
call
jumping the
it right
gun.
now.
Well, in the favor of the Conservatives at the moment. So they're saying that there's 3 seats leading, but 0 elected. There's nothing elected yet.
And I assume the
that's where
lotties
they're
are interior seats where
So that-
everyone who showed up to vote probably showed up early in some of these precincts in super rural areas. Oftentimes you find in super rural ridings where a polling district might only be like 70 people because nobody else lives close enough to drive to that polling station. Everyone agrees to basically vote early, get in before 2:00 so we can just shut down the polling station. That actually happens in this one little district of New Hampshire in the US. There's like only 15 people in this tiny little hamlet. So they all wake up in the morning at like 12 a.m. or whatever. They all cast their votes and then they just report their numbers before everyone else because there's literally 0 other people who are able to vote.
That's fun. I mean, the Yukon in their last provincial election, there was one riding that had I think fewer than 70 people voting in it. That was
Wouldn't surprise me in Yukon.
yeah, and I mean that was the election, I think, if I remember correctly, where the Yukon NDP said as one of their slogans, the Yukon NDP will something environment. They said, okay, well, we're gonna fill this in later, and then somebody forgot to fill it in later, and they published that online.
no way. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that.
Clyde, we got trying to track down live results. As every new guest has come into the show, I've been asking them, basically, from a BC perspective, like, what's been sticking out to you about whether it's the election, the NDPs, the Conservatives, heck, we talked a little bit of Green Party at one point. What's been sticking out to you with the lead up to and now the day?
Well, what's been sticking out is just the consensus on the ground, what people are talking about, your average everyday people. Like in the trades, I know it used to be, a lot of people would him and haw, and I don't know. I like the NDP. I like what the Conservatives weren't even a contender years ago, so they weren't even on the block. But it was Liberals and NDP. Nobody really voted for the Greens, even though like people would say that like the Greens, I don't know, they're commies in my books, but that's besides the point. What we see is British Columbia is largely a lefty place. It's a lefty province, lots of lefties. You get out into the rural areas, you get people that have no patience for that stuff, but for the most part, it's a lefty voting place. In recent years, this has changed a lot. It's changed a lot, and this is the reason why the Liberals had to do a big name change because of consensus. What's been happening in the last several years is just unacceptable for so many people. What the NDP did with the pandemic, with COVID, the egregious overreach from the provincial government, it was massive, and people are done with it. They don't forget. And they know that this is just going to be more of the same. They're watching the crime rise as drugs keep coming into their neighborhoods. The junkies just keep getting closer to rural people. It's not normal. This isn't what people were always hoping for. So yeah, people want change. This is a change election. This is where it's going to go. This is the direction it's going to go. There's a bunch of the lefties that are holding on for dear life, that are trying to preserve that and keep the NDP in power, but they don't have really a leg to stand on with normies. Normies are going to be the ones to decide this election. Absolutely. And normies are who? Normies are the people that don't pay attention to politics on a daily basis. They just go, they do their job. They pay their taxes begrudgingly, but they do it, and they just hope that they get good governance and peace in the streets. Well, they haven't been getting either of those things, so this is why the election is going to change in the direction, in my guesstimate, for the Conservatives.
And we already know that the turnout is much better than it was back in 2020. And 2020 wasn't terrible turnout, because 2020 had been it was down, but it was only down a little bit from what was a higher turnout election back in 2013, because it was low turnout that got John Horgan through, or a higher, I guess, whatever, doesn't really matter. But this one, it looks like we might be nearing around 61% turnout, which bodes well for the Conservatives. And Clyde's right. I think there is a silent Conservative voter that we might see turn out tonight. Again, I don't know. This is all subject to change, considering that we're just counting up ballots now. But it's like Donald Trump in the United States back in the 2016 election, and even in the 2020, based on how close that one was. There are certain people that are very difficult for pollsters to get a hold of, who aren't honest with who they're voting for. But when they do show up, they're going to vote Conservative, no matter how much media propaganda and social pressure there is that you can't vote for them. They're nasty. They're awful. They're conspiracy theorists or whatever. At some point, someone's like, I can't even afford groceries, and you guys are going to try and shame me for not voting for your party?
Well, not only that, all these normie people, they've all been accused of all the things that are being accused, that the Conservatives are being accused of right now. During COVID, people are like, I don't know if it's so crazy. I don't know if we need to be having passports to go just to a restaurant, to go to a Denny's.
What if we got rid of
conspiracy theorists, and the fingers are pointing at them, and they're going, wait a second. If that's what they're saying John Rustad is, if that's what they're saying the Conservatives are, count me in, because they said the same thing about me. I'm done with this. It's over. I'm going to the polls.
The paper straws are gone. If the paper straws are gone, I'm going to go with that guy. I mean, that's been a big part of his. I would say it's been a big part of his platform, is just looking at things and saying, where are the stupid rules? Where's the stuff that doesn't make sense? Where's the government being an asshole? And let's do less of that.
I have to tell you guys a miniature story from when I was door knocking in a riding that the BC Conservatives, based on the projections, aren't even supposed to win. It was supposed to be likely NDP. It was Port Moody, Burquitlam. I was in this community called College Park. It's this little section of Port Moody where all the streets are named like Harvard, Oxford, McGill, whatnot. The polling district that place covers went like 75%, 73% NDP back in 2020. I had so many doors I went up to, and I was just door knocking by myself. So many people would open the door. They're like, okay, I voted NDP the last 3 elections. This time I'm voting Conservative. They're just awful. Can't stand them anymore. They'd then point down the street. They'd be like, I'm not sure about all these other people. It's very NDP around here. I'm not sure if it's going to be a waste of your time being here. And then they'd point across the street and they'd be like, those people are very NDP. I wouldn't bother going there. They're nice, but I don't think it's going to be worth your while. I'm like, oh, okay, have a great day. Close the door. I'd walk across the street because that was the next house I was going to go to anyways. They'd open the door and they'd be like, okay, I voted NDP like the last 7 elections, but I'm voting Conservative this time. Everyone else down the street are probably NDP. And it was like the same discussion. All these terrified people are voting Conservative, but are like whispering to me at their doorstep.
Can you come to the back door to talk to us about this?
Right. I'm going to give you the signal, and I'm going to start yelling at you like I hate your guts, and then run away. And it's like that's where we're at.
I'm voting for you.
You bring up the paper straws, and you have no idea how patient British Columbians are to put up with such BS. And they've done it for so many things. When it comes to the straws, it comes to all of this environmental stuff that's been pushed on them. We can't have paper bag, or we can't have plastic bags. We can't have bags. When you go to the stores, they don't even reprogram the machines. It's so condescending. It asks you at the end of your checkout, when you're doing their job for them, and you're doing their checkout, it says, how many bags would you like? They're illegal here. This is the thing. In British Columbia, we put up with so much, and at some point, something's got to give. You know, something's got to give, and tonight is when that thing is going to give, and we're going to see a conservative government come in.
And if we don't, even let's just say this, even if the Conservatives do not win, it's been such a game-changing election. The NDP. That's the dangerous thing if the NDP wins. I think they know their days are numbered. They're only going to get another 4 years, and that's it. And I don't think David Eby and these people have the sense to say, let's go softer. Let's try and win people back. They'll just do whatever the heck they want, thinking they only have 4 years left. A dying regime is always the most radical. But the thing is that, and I think the paper plastic straws controversy was, I think, a microcosm of the problems, like Clyde's saying. But it also was the funniest episode of the election because it caused one of my favorite own goals when you had the NDP do that stupid McRib fake press release, and they got absolutely dunked on it. Are you guys aware of this one?
No, please. Yeah.
The McRib?
I like the McRib.
Yeah, and see, that's the normal voters' reaction. So the BC NDP on their social media, Facebook and X, they released this post saying, because of the let's bring back plastic straws thing from the Conservatives, which is it's serious, but it's kind of a half joke thing to announce in the way that they did it, like it was a big platform point. The NDP then say, oh, the Conservatives, as a satire, they pledge to bring back the McRib all year long if they're elected. And everyone was quote tweeting it like, yes, please.
The Conservatives, they're going to bring back the Moulin Szechuan sauce too.
The Conservatives are going to make you rich and fit.
I've been having we're gonna add a fifth thing because I see Zoltan sitting there. I'm sure he's like, am I getting in on this place? Am I, so let's bring on Alex Zoltan. We're having
let's just fill the screen.
That's right. We're gonna be joined by Alex Zoltan. It's funny, Alex. This is what Grok said you are. You're the Andy Warhol of political dissidents. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but thanks for joining us tonight.
Oh, what a nice compliment. Thanks. Yeah, this is my 15 seconds of fame. I've always wanted to be on the Shawn Newman podcast.
Well, okay. We're going to start here, and then from there, the shenanigans can continue. But since you're the newest guy on, what we need to know is what your thoughts are on this election. BC, it's a pretty wide open market.
Absolutely. Cool. I mean, well, happy election day, everyone. I'm so excited to be here and provide the BC perspective. And I actually have a list of election issues, if you guys would be kind enough
I would love to hear a list.
Yeah.
We love lists.
Awesome. So as you can
we've been on a fair number of them.
Well, if you're not on a government list these days, you're not doing it right, as they like to say. All right, issue number 1. I am dressed up, as you can see, for the weather. We have an atmospheric river going on. So the largest issue, it makes sense, in the BC election right now is the impending climate catastrophe is the first issue going on in BC. Atmospheric river today, global boiling tomorrow, world ends with a whimper, not a bang, yada, yada, yada. Number 2, tent cities, colloquially referred to as Trudeauvilles. They're everywhere. Number 3, I've got free crack program. Very polarizing.
Yep.
Number 4, stranger attacks. We actually have people getting stabbed while waiting in line to buy a lemon loaf at Starbucks.
So to be clear, you're suggesting that the attackers introduce themselves first?
No, yeah. That's right. I guess most attacks are stranger attacks, unless, well, another one, I got catch and release justice system. Pretty disturbing problem to have when you have a free crack program and stranger attacks. Way down the list, it's almost a footnote. Healthcare and education. Forcible injections are another issue that's come up repeatedly tonight. Plastic straws. Closed emergency rooms and conspiracy theories, and that's about it.
Oh, okay. As somebody who loves a good conspiracy theory, this whole atmospheric river shutting down the power in various places in the province and affecting the voting stations. Do we think that that's on purpose?
on CBC, they just said that there was a statement from the city of Vancouver that your drinking water may be brown, and they said just drink it anyway.
Just drink it down.
If it's brown, drink it down.
They said if it looks a little foggy, that's normal. It's fine. No, I'm curious. That's real. So these are the issues that we're dealing with here in BC. I tried to make the list as comprehensive as possible, but just thought I'd give your viewers some outside of BC some context on what's going on in the province.
So CBC said that this brown water is 100% safe and effective.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. That's my favorite color of water out of all the different colors that water can be. Yeah.
So just to hop back to elections things here, I know people tuning in. We got a map. It's just not quite populating. It's not working right. What are you gonna do? That's life.
46.
I got people texting me right now because, like, I got my Snap-on guy, my tool guy, is texting me right now. He's going, "What the hell is our riding going to the Green Party?"
No, okay.
So the latest
it looked that way.
Now look,
it was all Green Party and no NDP or Liberal.
Oh my gosh,
or NDP or Conservative. And I started watching it. It looks like it's flipping now. It's
so the latest one I got sent was 37 Conservatives, 27 NDP, 1 Green. Whether or not they're all closed is probably
they're not going to be closed for a while. And the fun thing, to Clyde's point about the early reporting, is that you're going to see some statistical wild fluctuations, because you're going to have one booth that reports early that just happens to be in a blue collar area or something like that. And then there's going to be, so you're going to see these wildly skewed. It's going to look like that time that the polls closed in Michigan and you get a jump.
Green Party.
even in the most conservative or NDP ridings, there are polling districts that go the other way. It's just how it works. If you do enough door knocking, you'll notice that even a street can be like the liberal street, and it's like a super conservative riding, but everyone on that street's liberal. And then again, it's like if you turned your own riding into an election map, it would turn into that area, and that's this area and whatnot. It's just what's overwhelming. So right now, it basically shows, like, before the Conservatives are up 57% of the popular vote. Now it's tied, and then it's probably going to go back up. It depends on who's counting faster and what parts of the riding.
And to your point, you're absolutely right. Like, you see some areas, if you go through any urban area in a big city, I'm going to use Calgary as an example because I live fairly close to it. You'll see some streets where it's all defend Alberta parks and hire more Alberta nurses and crazy flags that have every color of the rainbow. And you're like, this isn't the kind of street I want to live on. And then you go down a few blocks and you're like, okay, everybody here has nice lawns. I'd much prefer this area.
I ran, and
it's like a super conservative right.
Was that?
I'm not sure who's talking there.
I think that was someone's audio device or whatever. I was going to say, I ran for the federal Conservative nomination in the riding of Calgary Signal Hill, which is, depending on the election, can be the bluest suburban riding in the country.
I used to live there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would have won it, but 2.5 weeks before the vote, they kicked me out because they tried to jam somebody else through. I made sure he didn't win anyway, so joke's on them. But they didn't want me to win. But I did tons of door knocking. I hit like 50,000 people worth of doors. And even though it's the bluest suburban riding, you will go down different streets where everyone's liberal, and it's just the type of houses sometimes that are in that area. Condos tend to be more liberal, different demographic groups, people who are people who just moved to the riding. A lot of it, you get down to the street where everyone's a public sector employee. Sometimes it just happens.
Anita, you hop back in. You said you said you had.
Well, go for it, Shawn.
Well, you just said you maybe had an update or two, so I thought I'd slide to you.
Well, yeah, like about 3 minutes ago, I was looking at, I hate looking at them, Global News' website, and you can see it. That's my screen share.
45, and 2.
Look at that, but 3 minutes ago, it was 37 Conservative, 28 NDP, and 1 for the Greens. So, like, in 3 minutes now, we're neck and neck. I said it would be tight. But I don't know how much you can believe.
What I'm hearing right now, which is good, and they've done a decent amount of substantial polls, like more than just a few polls in some of the Surrey ridings, and that the Conservatives are heavily overperforming in some of these Surrey ridings early on right now, where they're winning some ridings, or at least they're ahead of some really out of the pocket ridings.
Well, I certainly hope so, but like, okay, let's go. What's another thing that we should look at? Because I don't really trust this 45-45. I don't know.
Well, if our map was working, we'd be showing you the map.
We could show you that.
Map guys.
I'm on the BC election site right now.
Okay,
so
BC elections.
Yeah, so the BC election, it's 46-46-1.
46. Why is it so neck and neck? I just blame those stupid risky Rustad ads.
Anyways, I'm probably going to head off here. I might jump back on later. But
no, sounds great, Wyatt. Thanks for, even if you don't make it back, thanks for hopping on with us.
Absolutely, no thank you. You've been absolutely wonderful. And yeah, if you feel like coming on, we're going to be here for a while. I mean, if for no other reason than just that's how long it's
there's
going to take to get the map figured out.
There's tons of other stuff going on in the prairies this next month or two when it comes to big election things. Saskatchewan,
yeah, it certainly is.
Sort of
we're going to be here for the Saskatchewan one next week, doing the exact same thing.
So thanks again, Wyatt.
Better do New Brunswick. Anyways, have a good one.
We better do New Brunswick.
New Brunswick's coming up right away. It's not really on anybody's radar.
It's not even.
It's not even on the Atlantic Canada pollsters' radar. But
it's only
I don't have enough time.
Us two jackwagons talking about New Brunswick. It's like
I think with everything going on in my life right now, Mrs. Twos might murder me if I do another one of these.
To be fair, I'm half joking. It is a province of like 60% of the population of Calgary.
Well.
It's small.
It's a profoundly stupid place.
Yeah,
this is a silly place.
Blaine Higgs is easily.
You're right. Silly. Stupid is a strong word.
Thanks for hopping on, Wyatt. If you make it back later, great. And if not, it's been a treat to have you on this side.
Yes, thank you, Wyatt.
Thank you, David Bird, for that comment that I'm reading. I love the comments. But,
we hyped up the map, and I know Brett's like working like a madman with his computer right now, and he's very angry. But hopefully here in the next little bit, we get that. At the start of this entire thing, Jericho and me were dancing back and forth because we had some issues with the computer. And welcome to live streaming and trying to be cutting edge with the map. That's life.
It's all good. I mean, it's basically just something sexy to draw people in. It's the honeypot of election coverage. We just have the demolitions experts.
When I go on Elections BC, it says the website not available. And then when it loads for 2020. That is very suspicious. Like
there is an atmospheric river going on.
I was just going to say, it's all coming together. Folks, this is what's happening.
You're in the midst of the impending climate catastrophe. Are you surprised?
Yes, it's affecting the net broadband or whatever. Yeah.
49 conservatives. 49 conservatives.
Or 49? What's the result?
Right?
Okay, now it's 49-42. Okay, so here we go. 49-42. I don't know if I can share my screen again here. God, I hate
Liam's celebrating early. He's saying 49 conservatives.
Yeah.
I mean, it can change. It's going to change. But,
yeah. I think it'll pop up in a sec where you can see it's, there you go. 49-42-2.
I wonder if it's maybe all the traffic that because this is like it's a nail biter. Everybody's known it's been a nail biter for weeks leading up to this. And I feel like they probably vastly underestimated how many people would be interested in seeing what's going on.
Yes, you're saying we're breaking the internet. Maybe we're breaking it a little bit.
We are breaking the internet.
We're totally breaking the internet.
It's literally just us here that's doing it. Yeah.
Here's a plug to all the 6,000 plus people watching in live right now. You guys are awesome, first off. But two, share the crap out of this. Let's get it over 10K tonight.
Absolutely. Looking at that image, I'll be honest with you. I voted for the Marxist-Leninist Party today, and I'm having a bit of bias.
Because, I mean, it's understandable in BC because you look and you're like, you know what? I think the NDP are a little bit too extreme. I need somebody a little bit more middle of the road.
Yeah, I think it was a branding mistake for them to call themselves the Conservative Party. They should have just called themselves the Anti-Communist Party, because that's basically what they are at this point.
Yeah, so right now, just to bring a little bit of an update, this is on obviously what Liam was alluding to. It shows 49, 42, 2, and it shows that what would that be? Total votes, Conservatives at 471, and then the NDP at 487. Obviously, different ridings being heavier. But
are we able to drill down into any specific ridings of interest?
Yeah. What do you guys want to know? I got it all in front of me.
So
We'll
Surrey
load it up, yeah.
Serpentine. Surrey
Surrey
Serpentine.
Serpentine.
Surrey.
This is an interesting little story. So we have the very controversial and very white old mayor of Surrey.
Linda Hepner's up by 300 votes.
Sorry, what's the result there?
Linda Hepner is up by 300 votes.
So that would be the old Surrey mayor. She is running, interestingly enough, against the first RCMP officer in BC to wear a turban as a part of his uniform.
Well, technically, that wouldn't be part of his uniform. That would just be additional. But
I don't know. That's how CTV reported on it today. Yeah, but interesting little culture war you got going on there in Surrey.
So Linda Hepner is up in that riding, the Surrey, whatever it was, and what I know her name, but what riding is she a part of? Like what party is she a part of?
Surrey Serpentine. I believe she's running for the Conservatives.
She's conservative. Okay, that's again good news. That is good news because of the huge population in Surrey.
Okay, I need you find BC folk to help Jericho, our producer on this thing. Okay, he can get to the riding you're talking about, and it can go updated. Map. Yes, the map is finally working. There you go, BC.
Well, wait, leave it right there. Go back. There you go. So this is Nechako Lakes, and it is John Rustad's riding, and believe it or not, he's got almost a 3-to-1 ratio above the NDP challenger, and about a 15-to-1 over the Green Party.
Now, just went to 48-43.
It's interesting though. There's a Green Party leading inland, and so that's West Vancouver.
That is my riding. That is my riding, and this is what I'm.
Look at your riding, Clyde. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, please ask a question about the map.
Sure. Yeah, fire away, Alex.
What happened to the Georgia Strait?
So that's not. This isn't a land
an
map.
Earthquake that occurred.
I know. So that's Chris Sankey's riding there on the far left-hand side, and the electoral map kind of goes out into international waters a little bit.
I noticed that the Juan de Fuca plate has fully submerged.
You've got like the Aleutian Islands. So they've got a map that covers every little island that goes out in that area, not looking at it exactly.
The big one
is just went out of business.
That there's been a colossal earthquake, but we're all so excited about
this. Is what happens when you get two Albertans doing live election coverage from the border.
This is the problem with inflation in BC right here in this map.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Okay, so
Lily Valley says stop trying to change Canada.
Yeah.
You said this map is the honeypot. This is what attracts the viewers in.
This is constantly updating every 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So every 3 minutes, this map right here that we have in front of us, gents, and actually, lady, will update every 3 minutes now. So we'll see it constantly change as we get going later on into the night. Obviously, you can start to scroll each of the ridings, and you can see where the votes are at.
Well, we're seeing a lot of blue, which is good. I'm just fascinated by the green pocket in Clyde's writing.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by that entirely.
Yeah, like what's up with who are these people? It's like when you click back on Clyde's writing, which is West Vancouver Sea to Sky, you have Green Party. Your guy is Jeremy something. 7,196 votes he got, and then
go back up, Jericho.
Go back up.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, 7196.
Okay, and conservatives are
6,429.
That's a strong showing of conservatives, but it doesn't really matter. And I can't read the NDP one.
Yeah, they're 500. They're 500 votes behind right now on that.
Okay, so okay. Well, it's still a very strong turnout there for everybody, but the Greens are winning there. Okay, and what's this big orange part here? If we click on this one here, That is
So
that's the Haida
that's
Gwaii.
Haida Gwaii. That's where Chris
Chris
Sankey is running.
Right.
And
Yeah,
that
Chris
was in the 2020 election. That was the riding that the NDP won the strongest majority in, with I think 72%.
Okay, but look how strong they still are there. This is Chris Sankey's riding, North Coast Haida Gwaii. And
he's
for
not
people
very
who
behind. He's
Yeah,
only
I mean, like,
he's only 600 votes behind. He's at 30%.
And look at how few people have voted so
Yep.
far in that riding as well.
It's only a
very few
4-hour
people
drive
voted,
from
but are
Prince
you
George
not
based
like
on this
this?
map.
Doesn't this say a lot that people in that party didn't turn out to really vote for him? They kind of leaned toward the NDP in that writing. I'm really surprised. Is it because all the criticism he got? For anyone that doesn't know, Chris Sankey was criticized in the media for saying that the jab might contain HIV, right?
Which is not what
So then I guess that really made everybody perceive of him as some sort of lunatic or something like that. But Luc Montagnier, who's a Nobel Prize winning scientist, said that he thought it also contained that. If this is on YouTube, I'll just say it's safe and effective. But anyway, yeah.
Well,
You know what I'm
say that
saying?
they said that it contains that. I think they were saying that it was acquired immune.
What you said, AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome.
Yeah. So
But
it's
who's
acquired
saying-
from some other thing.
I don't know.
If I could, I just want to drill down on another riding, Clyde's riding. Again, if we
I
could.
know
because
Clyde's
the only
writing is
one-
fascinating.
So, Clyde, you're probably the most well-known and outspoken political figure in the riding. This is really kind of a communal, vote against you. I'm just wondering if you take this personally.
and I'm very outspoken about the watermelon.
It's a condemnation of you specifically, Clyde. How will you look these people in the eyes tomorrow?
It'd be very difficult.
You should look at them like this, like, what were you thinking?
They'll be carrying me off as I'm saying, Soylent Green is people.
Maybe they were mad you didn't run, for the Conservatives. And I would have voted for Clyde if he had run.
So I want to say Surrey South right now, Brent Chapman, he's been on the channel before. He's come out. He was actually under attack this past week. They came out trying to, they had an old candidate, an old MLA from the Liberal Party. And that revolving door between global news and MLAs and people in government. They lose their job and then they become a reporter to slander all of their political opponents. Well, they did that with him, and they were going after old tweets of his where he was just commenting on average things. There's some noise in the background.
Yeah.
So he's just commenting on average things, but they were pulling out little tidbits here and there. And they're like,
yeah,
he's a this denier and he's a that, and it was fully out of context. But they were using the entire media apparatus to try and go after this guy. Looks like he's winning by, I'm looking at about
3,000 votes.
Over 3,000 votes.
So this is Brent
that's
Chapman.
good news. That's
Brent
right.
Chapman, his writing is which one? This one here, Surrey South?
Surrey South, that's correct.
Surrey South. So he's got 10,145 votes, and then the other guy is 7,000 something, NDP. And they were going after his tweet from like 2015. That's nearly 10 years ago. You're 10 years ago. Why are you picking on comments from that long ago? I mean,
it was so long ago. It was so long ago that Trudeau did blackface. We can't hold him to that standard.
Oh yeah,
but we'll hold these people to that standard.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
So,
they're just scratching for any information that could smear someone or whatever, right?
They're grasping at straws.
Tweets. Yeah.
They're grasping at straws.
And they had the entire media apparatus on their side, and I'm glad that it didn't turn into votes in the other direction. It shows that people are like, yeah, forget it. I've heard this before. I know what you guys are doing. It's 10 minutes to 12, and you're desperate. You're desperate, and you're trying to pull out anything.
I'm really happy that didn't work. I'm because when you have that much money, you have more to pour into the media. For them to be your press agent, it really shapes the minds of people in British Columbia, unfortunately,
So West Vancouver, Sea to Sky is getting a little bit closer as the votes start rolling in. We got 7,910 with the BC Conservative Party, and the Greens are sitting at 8,317. So this could be a close race. This could be pull it away from the watermelons. Go have your lunch. Go enjoy your communism over in your little corner over there. Well, the big boys step up to the plate. We're hoping that that's the way it goes. But
the disturbing thing is not only has Vancouver Island remained communist, but now we have no body of water separating us from them anymore.
Yeah, it's become a land bridge.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to touch on this. You know, we were talking about them trying to paint them as conspiracy theorists and crazy people and everything like that. This is from BC NDP. In the last 28 days, we've learned a lot about John Roustad and the views he accepts on his team. The masses have bought into a lie about climate science, that wildfires intentionally ignited by climate change activists to further their climate agenda. They literally arrested a woman on Vancouver Island for trying to burn it down. Okay, climate change may be a hoax. We just covered an article on Friday about how the science is actually not settled. And it came from a bunch of leftists saying that they're discovering new climate change science, and sometimes things happen sporadically and they can't predict them. Elites are using climate change as a guise for depopulating the planet. I don't know. That may or may not be true. The climate change is a global conspiracy to make kids eat bugs. We literally in Ontario gave like $8 million to a plant to build a cricket factory.
Yeah.
You can go on to CTV and read the article if you don't believe us.
It's open. It's functioning. You can check out the Google reviews. They're interesting.
And they literally, when they put it in food and they don't tell you that it's crickets, they give it like some other name.
Yeah, it's like alternative protein or something.
Yeah, but come on, lobsters are insect guys. You know, I like lobsters.
Yeah. That Joe Biden and the U.S. Democrats cheated in the 2020 election and that Donald Trump really won. Does anybody really think that out of 375 million people, not a single one cheated in that election?
I'm tired. Okay, so this is a trope that I'm just tired of. The whole idea of questioning an election is a bad thing. But then what about the 2016 election when every Democrat came out and said that Trump stole the election? Get out of here. It was you can't have your cake and eat it too.
That's right.
Pick one, pick a lane, stick with it.
I got a question.
Hillary Clinton didn't shut up about 2016 and
she wrote
everybody's all over
book about it.
That's right. That's
well,
right.
I don't know. She might have. Did anybody actually read it? She wrote a book. I don't know if anybody actually read it to find out if it said that or not.
These politicians just ghostwrite books all the time.
Well, yes, that is true.
Yeah. Liam, you were gonna chime in with a question.
I got a question for all you guys. As my vision of Donald Trump, the guy's losing it because he's 78, and that's what normally happens. If you watch his debate in 2016 with Hillary Clinton, he trounced her. The debate performance was pretty sad, I thought, but his numbers are going up. And my thoughts are the weaker he gets, the better votes he gets because his team is really good. And that's my theory. Like the worse he talks, the slower he is, the less exciting he is, the more people want to vote for him because they like his team. So that's my conspiracy theory.
So everybody loves his team. I think he's got a great team. I think
amazing.
Tulsi
Gabbard, RFK Jr.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this whole team is great, but I think buying into the idea that Trump is tired and all that stuff is buying into CNN's propaganda. If you watch, like I watch him online and I watch all of his rallies and the things that he's been doing, tons of energy. Absolutely.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the more that CNN pushes that narrative, the more people are comfortable with voting for the Republicans. Because a lot of people, I'm included in them, I don't really like Trump's personal life. It doesn't vibe with me. The guy's had 3 divorces. He got out of the Vietnam draft. We can go on and on. But point is that the harder they push that narrative, the more people are willing to vote for him because, like, well, he'll only be in there for a few months. He'll pardon himself, and then like JD Vance did such a good job in the vice presidential debate that I think a lot of people opened their eyes and they had their expectations pushed down so low, kind of like the Rustad expectations. He showed up to the debate and he didn't talk about, like aliens turning us into lizards, that, he probably got a lot of votes out of that. Right. So,
I like
I heard a rumor. It's just a rumor. I can't confirm it, but I did hear a rumor that even Jimmy Carter is thinking of changing his vote to Donald Trump.
To Donald Trump. Jimmy Carter is 100 years old. He looks like a corpse. You know, like I
we get it, Bernie's.
Apparently he mumbled something over breakfast, and some people think he might be thinking of changing his vote at the 11th hour here.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
He mumbled something through his feeding tube. And
regardless, so whether you like Trump or you don't like Trump getting in is a significant thing, especially in this election. If I like how Elon Musk articulates it. If you don't vote for Trump, there won't be elections moving forward. It'll just be who wins the Democratic primary in the way they've been setting things up. So whether you like Trump or not is irregardless. It's the team that he's bringing in that's going to be the real powerhouse. And afterwards, he's going to have a legacy of people like JD Vance, Elon Musk.
That's right.
And this is a bipartisan thing. Like you're watching people leave the Democrat Party to go towards Trump and his team. I like it. I think it's the establishment versus people, and I don't know what else happened in their studio. There was an explosion or something, but yeah, we'll get back to the Canadian elections here, the British Columbia election.
I got a question. Is Nathan Cullen losing there? Pull that map up again.
We don't have the map up just yet. Give us just a minute.
The last time you had it, Nathan Cullen was losing. Now he's the candidate running in the Smithers area, and that's
NDP, right?
Yeah, and that's groundbreaking because he's a well-liked guy. He's a positive and hardworking guy, and Smithers is very politically different than the rest of the interior British Columbia. So if they lose that riding, that is a nail in the coffin of an NDP.
That is a nail in the coffin, because that just shows that no matter how likable a candidate is or how popular, if people don't like your party and the leader and what they think the party is about, they're not going to vote for you. And there is an anchor that used to work for Global who is lovely, who is NDP, and nobody's going to vote for her. She's getting, I don't know if I should name her, but whatever. I mean,
where we're looking for Smithers?
Just look at Northwest BC, the biggest. It's the second or the biggest riding there. All of that Northwest area up like on the Alaska Panhandle, that's Nathan Cullen's riding, and every single projection that I saw showed that going orange. And if that's still blue, that's going to be the riding that pollster Sharista. I don't know how to say it, but the Sharista guy. He was saying if that one goes blue, it's a very, very strong sign that it's not going to be good.
Yeah, so you've got currently about almost 1,600 votes for the Conservative candidate, and Nathan Cullen has just shy of 1,200.
Yeah. So that's not a big. There's probably, there's probably another 10,000 votes to come in there. So that might just be like Houston is showing, and they haven't voted Smithers yet. So let's switch back.
There are 14 to 30 polls reporting in Smithers.
But like that's one of those areas that is, a very, very strong NDP and a good local candidate. So I'm surprised to see that.
Some people in the comments don't like.
They don't like him.
So there you go.
But like he's well liked by his people, right? He's one of those like long term.
Yeah.
People. I agree. Question that came in on my chat here. The Maple Leaf Forever asks thoughts on if PPC set up provincially, being in Ontario. I'm not happy with Ford. He's a liberal in the closet. I wish there was a good alternative.
That's a pretty big closet.
That's a big closet. So my opinion on this one is you're better off getting involved in primaries in the party politics to oust Doug Ford than you would be to get the PPC to bring a party in and actually win an election. I think you'd be so much better off to just get involved with Conservative Party and get that guy out of there. This is how you get these people out the door. You get new people in.
Yeah, you get a bus full of Chinese charter students. It's a tactic as old as time. It's just how Canadian politics works.
I have zero faith in the PPC winning any elections. Provincial.
They never will. They're a bunch of goofs.
Yeah, it's not happening.
We got to take a quick pause and thank our sponsors again for this here. We'll be back to the regular programming in a second. But the Dairy Cartel, who we have nothing bad to say about.
That's correct.
And thank you very much.
Cheers to the Dairy Cartel.
They're drinking milk.
Wow.
That's adorable.
Yep. Yep.
I also want to go on record as saying I also have no problems with the dairy cartel. Friends of ours as well here in BC.
Is it raw milk, right? Is it pasteurized?
No, it was actually just up to my neck.
What? Are we on the air still?
Pasteurized.
Are we still on the air? Yes, Anita. This is exactly what we do for a living. Yes. Yes.
This is still a show. Okay, I'm joking. No, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah. Okay.
Celebrating creamy communism in Canada. Yeah. That's what we're doing.
Communism. Yeah. Teresa Tam wants you to pasteurize everything. She doesn't want anything pasteurized.
The reason we're Anita, the reason we're drinking the reason we're drinking milk is because the sponsor of today's show is Six Rock Dairy out of Armstrong, BC. They're wonderful people. They're wonderful people. They may be part of the dairy cartel in BC. We're not sure, but well, they certainly are.
You don't have a choice. You
don't have a choice. Henceforth, nobody forced us to drink milk on.
You can have milk any way you like it. It's all good with me.
Except raw, because that's illegal.
Six Rock Dairy, they're Armstrong, BC. They're lovely people. They got daughters that are awesome.
Yeah, so. No, good. Okay, that's awesome. I think that's great. Yeah, I enjoy milk from a carton also, but I think you should be able to have it any way you want it. You want raw, have raw, right? I don't need Teresa Tam telling me what to drink. For God's sake, look at her.
Yeah. You have to drink your milk through a glory hole with a paper straw.
We're back to the glory hole thing again.
You love the glory hole.
I tell you what, article. I reported on that article. It's absurd. Holy hell!
I couldn't even.
No, it was Health BC under Bonnie Henry as the authority of Health BC.
Did you guys read the fine print there? It says that 40 people get back injuries every month from glory holes in British Columbia.
40 people.
Like WCB claim back
injuries?
Seriously, I read the fine print.
I feel like
that's a lot.
Accidentally over circumcising yourself with the sharp edges would be a far greater risk. But maybe I'm.
Why take a moment? I also wanted to just give
go to the kosher
to my
hole
sponsor.
for that one.
My sponsor is the Bread Price Fixers.
Oh, Loblaws.
Yeah.
Nice.
Loblaws.
Okay. All right. But we actually did have Six Rock sponsoring us, and we do appreciate it.
We do appreciate it. We do. They're awesome. They're wonderful people.
Yeah.
Holy hell, my riding is so close. We're at 8,406 to 8,956, and it's still the greens. Yeah, the green one. It's not the only green one. There's another green one over there.
No, actually, it looks like that's the only green one right now, unless there's one that's so small in the middle of Vancouver that we can't even pick it out.
It's tiny.
No, it looks like the Gulf Islands are green too in that map. If you zoom in.
Yeah.
But this stupid global
they're
thing
no longer islands.
It's saying NDP 43 conservative now, the global one. They're saying 48 NDP 43 conservative. That's
okay.
That better change.
Seriously, how did you guys make this map? I have to ask. It's just killing me. I'm dying over
the
here.
map, I know. Like they can never draw anything with a likeness, right? It's always going to be totally inaccurate. Like
so we didn't make this ourselves. This isn't.
Yeah.
This is
no. Dudes didn't draw this.
This map coming from the guy who helped get all the data. Wait 1 second. Wait 1 second, Liam. Let me finish. The map that's up here, this is the best part of this, okay? Because Zoltan's been all over our map, okay? Here's the funny part about the map. The worst part, this is Brett, the guy who put all the data together, everything goes. The worst part is this directly was converted from the special map data off the BC elections website. So
this is their official map.
So John Rustad was here. You go. Everything in BC is broken, even the elections map.
Sorry.
I'm looking at the BC election site. They're showing 48 NDP, 43 conservative at this point. So
ours is up to date. Like this is literally a live feed off of the BC election server.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So we've got 49 conservative, 42 and 2.
Well,
I've got
regardless,
43 and 2 at this point. So
yeah, so 48, 49, somewhere in that range. I mean, we're splitting hairs at this point, 49 or 48. If you're wanting the Conservatives, if you're going through predictions,
The
oh
NDP
wait,
are
we
up.
did that. I didn't get
the
Zoltan on the
NDP are
predictions,
up
did I?
on the website now. The NDP are at 48 and the Conservatives are at 43.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm not happy about that. I want to see that change in the next before the night is done.
Well,
You guys know who I voted for, and I don't like.
It's very close.
An independent. No.
25,000 votes between the NDP and the Conservatives right now in total out of 740 and 715. So, but it's changing.
Okay, it's changing.
It's pretty
right?
tight.
Yeah. It's
very
tight.
tight.
I don't understand why it's so
very
tight. Who are these
probably
NDP
because
voters?
you have a Conservative Party
These
that
Green
came out of
Party
nowhere.
votes. What is that?
Clyde, you're just gonna be traumatized for life.
I'm just gonna be giving people the hairy eyeball every day as I'm walking around.
Look at
town.
you. That's you. That's you right there.
Oh man,
Do they not know who you are?
I imagine everybody does. Like,
Like,
how often
shouldn't
do you
they
get
be like,
how often do you get recognized on the street, Clyde?
often.
okay, well, they should be like, hey man, he's our dude. He fights for Canada. We gotta listen to this guy. But there's dum-dums in your writing. How
There's a
could
bunch of dum-dums. Yeah,
Tell
there's a
me.
bunch of dum-dums. It goes, well, my riding goes to from North Van all the way to Lillooet, and then it's also the Sunshine Coast. So
the people, kind of have a little bit of what jingle in their jeans, like
There's a lot
they.
of trees there too, right?
their jeans.
Well, I mean, do they have money? They have money, obviously. That's
Like a little pot in their pocket, a little.
jingle in their jeans. Like, are they rich and like kind of oblivious, like upper middle class? Yeah, they are, right? In that writing, no.
Well, you're talking about North Vancouver, West Vancouver. Sorry, North Vancouver,
Van.
another riding.
You
But
guys
North Van's
you
like
guys want a BC elections fun fact?
Town.
A
Whistler
BC elections.
hippies. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an
Zoltan, what's a fun fact?
BC elections fun fact. This is the first BC election without the marijuana party on the ticket.
Oh, that marijuana guy. Yeah, we used to have a marijuana party guy. I forgot his
They
name.
went up and smoked, did they? Hey.
That's right.
They teach
Yeah,
and
they
train
dissolved
them.
the party in
Supports
2019.
vaporized, right?
Yeah, they just
Said they weren't motivated anymore.
they actually filed they filled out the election paper and then they accidentally used it as rollers.
Yeah, that's
Right.
Yes. Yes. Well, what else have we got? Let's bring the map back.
Well, the map seems to be stuck in limbo right now. So we got to a certain point, and it's like, what are you gonna do? It's yeah, Brett, I wish you guys could see on this side. Brett is frustrated with the map, so we're working on it.
Yeah.
No, it's switched now. 47 NDP, 44 Conservative.
47 NDP. This is a tight little ball game tonight.
Yeah, let's just call it and go to bed.
Oh my god. I know. In my writing, the NDP woman is leading. Oh God.
by lots or
But
what?
51.4 versus 40.3.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh God. How? Oh well. I don't know. I don't
We're
know.
talking
Maybe I shouldn't have bought that
500
shampoo.
votes in the West Van Sea to Sky Sunshine Coast.
Yeah.
It's very close.
Let's
And it's the
read some-
Green Party. Like, it's not even against the NDP. The NDP is losing in that riding.
Should we look? What's another riding? Let's go to Burnaby South Metrotown and see who's leading there. NDP.
Paul Choi,
Paul
48.5.
Okay, I don't know how we get the mouse over to the.
So that's
actually 500 votes different.
Riding federally, which is
God, what about Delta? I've just got the website up here, so let's just look at Delta North. Ravi Kalan, that's that. He's kind of, people know him. NDP is leading there, 52.6 over 40.4 for the Conservative. I mean, at least they're tight, but why is NDP winning? What are they looking at on their feeds, in their social media, that is driving them to do this?
Look at North Island.
North Island?
55-28 NDP versus 52-66 Conservatives. That's a tight race.
Oh,
That's
wow.
yeah. That's well, as somebody named Drizzle Jizzle says, my sphincter whistles softly.
Is it weeping? No, I don't know.
Oh, that's the guitar.
My guitar.
Yeah,
definitely-
it's a take on Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Wow, my guitar. Okay, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, let's go. Okay, Langley, Abbotsford, Conservatives are winning there. Harmon Bangu is winning by, he's got 10,420 votes over the NDP guy who's got 6,200
I
something.
bet you that marijuana party wanted to get 10,420 votes.
420.
Hey, 69. Yeah.
Oh God.
Nice.
This is
Nice.
see,
Giggity, giggity.
Shawn, earlier when you were asking us our predictions, I
Yes.
was very hesitant because they were so tight. Not hesitant, but I didn't have the confidence to call it because I know people are whacked in BC. We're lefty, we're whacked, and we have so many high hopes that we need change.
Well, actually,
And
that that brings up, Anita. I forgot one of my top issues in the BC election: library radicalization.
Yes, go
Curious
on.
if you guys are dealing with that in Saskatchewan as well.
What do you mean by that?
Oh,
Library radicalization. Well, I have here written public libraries are being occupied by sex pests, drag queens, transsexuals, and all other kinds of eccentric characters.
can you define sex pest for a second?
I got that. Gord McGill's watching. I got that phrase from Gord. I actually don't know what that means.
Sex pest? That's a funny one. It's like creepy dudes, creepy people that hang out, and that's what they do. You'll often find them going to like third world countries for vacations.
Like they do
Oh,
the
those
what do
guys,
they
yeah.
call it? The sex vacation. It's got a fancy term.
The guys
You're looking at me like I know what that is.
Sex tourism.
What the heck would I know that is?
John, what is it?
Sean, I defer to the resident
Sean,
expert
Sean,
over here.
What was that thing you did in Thailand with the ping pong balls?
Remember that?
Oh my God! You know, I'm
I was
the
playing ping pong and ding dang.
I'll tell you what they do have in the library, in my local library. They have needle drop boxes in the bathroom. You can drop your used needles in the bathroom.
I wasn't aware of how big of an issue this was. I went to the library recently. I took my niece there in the kids section. Wow, what a cesspool that is.
What did you see?
Oh my God. Oh, just all kinds of crazy stuff. I don't even want to dignify it by describing it. Just all kinds of books about, gross sexual stuff,
Oh.
Well, I was there to get a copy of Alexander Solzhenitsyn's The Gulag Archipelago, so I took her to the genocide section of the library, which seemed way more age appropriate.
We should probably learn more. I got that book out once, but I just couldn't get it started because I kept falling, it's hard to, I kept falling. I fall asleep when I read, but yeah, geez, I'll have to check out I have 2 kids, but they're older, so I'm not reading them little books in the library anymore. They can read, Yes.
Well, Saskatchewan, to your point about asking about the sexualization of libraries, one of the NDP MLAs in Saskatchewan has 2, I think 7 and 9-year-old kids, boys that they're raising as girls, and then getting them to go into the change room at the school in Balgonie is the town. And that's kind of a big thing going on there. They've got the backing of the school board to do it. And I think that I love the fact that this is blowing up a week before the election. I hope it gets all kinds of coverage.
So
what are the chances that you have 2 transgender kids?
What are the chances? Exactly.
So at a high school here, what they did is they created a 3rd bathroom for kids that were, transgender or gender questioning or whatever. And I was told that was the bathroom everyone used to poop in. Just because it was a single stall bathroom, right? So
yeah.
46-45.
Oh God, 46-45 for who now?
NDP. Yeah. Yeah, but we're now down into the Greens hold the balance of power as the current status.
It's crazy. It's like 600 votes in the Sea to Sky riding.
Yep.
Sorry,
and
400 votes. It's
we have
400. Oh, it's
50% voter turnout now at this point.
So what was the voter turnout again, Liam?
We're at 50 now with 85% of ballot boxes reporting. So we're probably going to be pushing 65% voter turnout,
which is a 20% increase from the last election.
Yeah,
roughly for population. Yeah.
She's super tight, super tight.
I
think the answer to your question is why are they not further ahead? How do you build a party a year and a half without having some hiccups, right? Like this is a movement. It's hard, right?
No, it's insane to think that right now they could be the government, right? Like, I mean, they're that close. They're like, it's razor thin right now.
5,000 votes guaranteed.
Right.
It's just over.
Right. One more thing about these bathrooms, by the way. I hate the fact that these idiots call them unisex bathrooms. Unisex bathrooms, una meaning one. A boy's bathroom is a unisex bathroom. A girl's bathroom is a unisex bathroom. These bathrooms for both genders are omnisex bathrooms. But they can't even get their own nomenclature right.
Sex and not gender. I'm tired of the confusion between the terms sex and gender. Genders, there are 4 genders in the English language. It is a grammatical construct. It's not a social construct. There's indeterminate, neuter, masculine, and feminine. There are 2 sexes that any biological being can be, and you're either male or female. And the way people describe you,
any multicellular.
46 conservatives are up 1.
What?
Nice. 1. We're got 46, 45, 42, which still means a green, like, and that would be a green, minority would have to support one of those 2. So, but still, it's switching around here.
Well, the Greens gonna always go with the communists.
You know what? I to be fair, I think that the Greens, the Sonia Furstenau is a very competent person, and it's tricky for them because their voting base is tough to get. But there's actually a lot of I lean green, but I'm like a blue green guy, right? I got like blue green tie dyed. But we got to have that economy. It's just like Chase Barber said earlier in the show. You got to have that economy going good to actually look after the environment, right? And if you slaughter the economy, like if you look at communism, Alexander Solzhenitsyn is a good example there. If you go to Russia, you got the most dirty sites in the world in Russia. You got a city, Norilsk. Norilsk is a nickel mining district of northern Russia. You weren't allowed to go there before. It was even more difficult to go to Russia. You can mine the top layer of the soil there for like gold and platinum and make money. The average life expectancy is 42. So communism does not vibe with environmentalism. Those are diametrically opposed ideas. So I like the Green Party, but it's complicated. You have to get rid of some
record on communism and climate change is not good.
No, it's terrible. Look at China.
It's very terrible. See, the problem is like Canadians in general, and maybe this isn't a problem. I think it's a PR problem for the Conservatives, is actually getting people to realize that the Conservative Party is federally or provincially here in British Columbia is the better bet for conservation of the environment. When you're talking about real environmental issues, not this like, carbon dioxide is the only issue we concentrate on. No, I'm talking about clean water, drinking water, making sure industry is not polluting with actual chemicals into the soils and into the air and into the waterways. Yeah, the Conservatives are the ones who are going to actually fight for that. And whether it's the NDP or the Green Party, they're too fixated on this global climate thing. And the thing is, well, you go over to China. Why aren't they concerned about climate change? Because they already have a communist government, and that's really what it comes down to.
Well, it's because the communist government is scared of being taken down by unhappy people, and so they've kept the economy going. But I will say this about China: like they don't have a lot of their own oil; they're net importers of oil, and they are destroying the use of internal combustion engines with this massive rollout of super cheap electric vehicles and an incredibly drop in the cost of solar energy. And at the end of the day, like if I want to be a redneck out on my farm and I have a Cybertruck and I got an array of super cheap solar panels that I put up, I can charge my Cybertruck for almost for free. I don't have to pay any road tax. I don't have to get anything. It's direct freedom. And so like things aren't black and white. Like the communists, like they've let the capitalism work because that's the only way that they can actually stay in power is by allowing people to grow. And if you take people's wealth away from us, like we've done in Canada with this GDP per capita that's been declining for years, we got crime up. None of these ideas are working. Everybody's fed up with it, but there's still people that think we'll just try a little harder and it'll work. And that's a testament to Canadians being nice and being honest and being willing to try in the long run. But I think within a couple of years, like if the Conservatives don't win tonight, unless EB really wakes up or there's a revolt inside of the NDP party, there's zero chance that they will win the next election. And like you said, that might be really bad because they'll try to skewer things. But if we have a minority government, you can see that the Greens will be jumping in there an opportunity to form the official opposition in the event that it keeps going the way it is.
NDP wins, Liam. Does anybody think Ebby's going to all of a sudden wake up? Not a chance.
No, not a chance.
Not a chance.
No, he'll keep doing more of the same. He's got his beliefs and his policies that he believes in. He'll never change. And if he wins tonight, it just is going to reinforce that for him. It'll just reinforce his confidence. And it's funny what you were talking about China. It's like China is the most capitalist society. They create everything, yet they're communists. And China doesn't have a carbon tax. Neither does Russia, neither does India, neither does the US. But we do. Yeah. Thank you, Trudeau.
Yeah, I'm actually a supporter of the carbon tax, but not the way that it's been done.
You're the one. Well, how come you support it?
You want to know it?
Well, I mean, okay.
Me and Elon Musk support.
We found one.
Milton Friedman talked about this as a concept. There needs to be a cost for damages you do to other people, and so presumably when you're doing things that are harming the environment, there needs to be a price that you pay for that. And we're
not doing that. Not us in Canada.
So here's the thing. I'm not saying what's happening in Canada is good. I'm saying as a concept, the idea of having some type of fines imposed or levies put on companies that damage the environment is a good thing, because otherwise they don't bear any cost for it and they're incentivized to just keep doing it.
Then get rid of
I can get behind that.
That is completely different. That's completely different than what's happening here.
You're band-aiding an issue that came a long time ago. So when the robber barons were going across the whole continent with their trains and terrorizing everybody, they got their way because of eminent domain laws. They didn't have to pay for the people that they caused damages to. When they would roll by with their trains and they would put soot everywhere, farmers would sue them. They would take them to court and they would file for injunctions. They would sue them for damages and they would win. It wasn't until the governments of Canada and the United States came in with this new idea. Why don't we just create an eminent domain because it's a public good? They should just be able to get away with it. That's what caused a lot of these issues. At the time, these train companies, they were actually making rudimentary emissions devices on their trains to stop lawsuits from coming in. This is what should be happening. If you're polluting the environment and you're getting out there, you shouldn't be getting fines from the government. You should be getting sued by people who are downstream from you. And the government should allow for that instead of squashing people and not allowing for these lawsuits.
I don't want to be a cynic, and I know that this probably isn't the right venue to make this comment, but my attitude towards polluting is that it's like voting. You're only one person. You can't make a difference.
Mm-hmm. My grandfather is shaking his fist at you.
Yeah.
But so many industries pollute so much. Even when you go to the hospital, like you wear a gown, you barely worn it, you take it off, put it in the laundry. They have rubber gloves, putting that in the garbage. Where I work in a health clinic right now, everybody has a mask. Like some people have masks. We throw so many masks in the garbage. Okay. We throw needles in the garbage because we do dry needling for acupuncture and stuff like that.
Well, I wonder,
but they've done a lot to reduce. They've done a lot to reduce that waste. For example, there's no asses on any of the gowns.
Yeah, that would have been more detergent if there were. Yes, they are assless gowns. Yes. So
Speaking of needles, if David Eby wins, I wonder if he's going to bring back his ever popular policy of letting people do drugs at the park. Because
that policy hasn't gone away, has it yet? The drugs in the park or whatever.
No, you're not allowed to do it in in
I mean, years ago,
playgrounds
you
anymore.
you
Well,
couldn't have
that got defeated, I think, at the Supreme Court, if I'm not mistaken.
We established some boundaries in BC, so you can have the hate rallies and the intravenous drug use, just not at a playground, a synagogue, or a hospital. Anyone
Now,
else is fair game.
I feel like there's probably a few really, really cynical people out there, to use Zoltan's word, who at some point you'd think would just become addicted to drugs and do them on steps of the legislature just to prove a point.
Yeah, you'd think.
I mean,
There
years
was
ago,
a couple of
you
city
drank a
officials.
glass of white wine on the beach. Think about
Yeah,
that.
well, that was the
know-
thing. So there was a while ago, there was a couple of city officials that went and they were drinking on the street to try to get arrested next to a bunch of like people doing illicit substances. And yeah, the cops came over and stopped them. They're like, you're not allowed to do that. Oh, really? I'm not allowed to have a beer next to these guys
Can't
doing
have
their
a beer
fentanyl
or whatever. You
and
can't
heroin.
have a
and all
little
that.
drinky poo on the street, but you can openly
Here's-
shoot up heroin.
You know, okay, I'm going to change the subject just for a quick
Okay.
second and get us all. I disagree with Zoltan. I think one person can enact a lot of change. That's my own belief. I'm going to throw that in on you, Zoltan, just to
Oh,
throw
I
that
was
in.
just kidding, Sean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Look at
all right.
Fallon.
Fair enough.
It's hard to
This
tell
is-
through his
See, this is on-
Randy
this is-
Savage glasses.
This is on Twitter. CTV just disabled their live chat on YouTube on their election coverage. That doesn't sound like
What?
a mainstream
Oh,
thing to
really?
do, does it?
Really? Why would they do that?
Come-
That seems
Come
out of
to
the
ours.
ordinary.
You can comment whatever you want.
That's exactly what they put underneath it. They said
That's
they
exactly what.
come over
on
here
to
because you can call us all. We would love
Well,
nothing more
actually,
than
we
to,
had
to read some
Right.
comments that call us a bunch of idiots. I think
Sean,
specifically
we had-
Jews.
Get in there.
What
Well-
did it say? It said they disabled the live comments on their stream right now.
Yes, it
CTV?
said CTV just disabled their live chat on YouTube on the election coverage.
Aw,
Do they have old comments listed there that you can read?
That's a good question. I
And were those comments very pro-conservative, and that's why they had to disable it? Because
CTV.
think about it. We're a broadcaster like CTV Global, CBC, but the public isn't allowed to comment. Like, think of how awful that is, and how many times they've done this before. Because Global's been doing this ever since COVID, disabling comments. We don't want to hear from the viewer. I mean, F
Okay.
you.
For example,
F you, the network.
look at the comment we have right up now. You are idiots. We're happy to put that up.
Yeah, sure. I'm ready.
Thank you,
Matter.
Scott Jett.
Yes. Well,
Thanks for the great
Hey.
comment. Thanks for watching. At
Scott,
least
can
we
you
know-
explain why we're idiots? Like
Let's
why
get her
are we?
on the
Why are
show.
we? Yeah.
Let's
And
get her
that's a
on
lot
the
of people. There's a lot of different varying opinions in this group here. But we don't have to get mad at each other. We can just say it.
Maybe it works for
move along.
CTV or something.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
how cowardly that these guys cannot have live comments.
well, I'm seeing if I can pull it up here, Anita. Give me while you guys
Yeah,
carry on. I'll see if I can grab a couple of the comments that were
Of
on
the
there.
comments and
Thanks,
and
Jehovah's thickness. Really appreciate that right now.
I didn't even see the name. I didn't even see the name.
Love
that is
it.
the best username I have ever
That's
seen.
so good.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh,
That's funny.
why didn't I think of that before I started doing internet
know-
things? Oh,
I
I'm
know.
so mad at myself right
I'm
now.
so mad at myself for calling myself.
It was
Anita.
right
Anita
there.
K.
It was right there
Um,
all along.
Somebody
this-
said that.
Yeah.
Somebody said that CBC has done the same thing as well.
Yeah, I can't see any. I can't, as far as I can tell, I can't see any comments.
Old comments. You can't see the old comments. But think about that for a second. CBC, CTV, Global, they don't want to hear from you. You are not, your comment means nothing to them. So they've disabled the comments off as a public broadcaster.
I don't blame them for turning it off. Can you imagine what it would be like monitoring the comments for CBC? Like, that's got to be the worst job in the world. Just
Yeah.
all day looking at you suck.
Well,
Oh my God. Like at that point, I'd rather work
Then
at
don't take
Microsoft Edge.
then don't take our tax money if you don't want to hear from us. Then I don't want to pay you. Then not a
Like
penny
we're
of
your
my
boss,
taxes.
and we're telling you suck.
We're telling you
should've
you suck and you turn me off. You don't want to hear from me. Well, don't take my money. You need
go
my
to hell spelt 100 different ways.
Yeah, honestly, this is so pathetic. Or like so pathetic for the broadcasters. Anyway, in the Conservatives are 46 and NDP 45 according to Global.
And according to the map,
us,
the
we
map
have the
is
map.
updating. Anita, come
Why
on,
do you
read
guys
it up.
keep looking
Don't
at
bring
other
the Global
people's?
on here.
Good. I'm happy to hear it. But see how tight it is? It's tighter than a glory hole, isn't it?
The glory hole. Anita's going.
Glory
She's
hole
going like,
tight.
See, and I keep getting in hell for bringing up the glory holes.
Wow.
We should call up
40
Teresa
people
Tam.
a day.
Tell us more about
40
that.
people a day. Is that the stat I heard? There's no way that's true.
No,
And
it's 40 people
specifically
get
back
a day?
injuries.
Sorry,
No,
40 people a day get back injuries using glory holes was what he said. Which is because you're like, okay, well,
No,
what
not
other
a
injuries
day.
do they
That
have?
can't be.
Is that the largest group of injuries, or is it the smallest group of injuries? I mean, there's like this is what I
It
want
gives you an
Stats
idea-
Canada
it
to
gives you a
devote their
better
time
idea of
to.
The demographics that you're dealing with in
I've
that type
never
of venue,
seen a
right? It's
glory
probably a
hole.
lot of. It's kind of gross, but you know. if
Well,
there's
I
that
would
many
say-
back injuries. You have to assume it's probably a lot of older folks.
Yeah, and I would say as far as demographics go with glory holes, at least 50% of them are men.
Yeah.
At least.
Oh, yeah, because yeah.
At least 50%.
Well, of course, not 50%. It's probably all
It's
100% men. Anyway.
Oh, man. That's
Okay.
awful.
What? Okay. I don't know why we keep going back there, but well, there's a
You
little
brought
bit-
it up. You're the one who brought
Oh,
it up.
yeah, I did. Yeah, I made the joke. Sorry.
Oh man, you know when you've been live streaming for over 3 straight hours, your brain's
Hours
gonna
and
go a
just
little
our-
bit.
Yeah,
turned to
you
goo.
get the rigor's
Oh,
dementia.
man.
Yeah, you know.
We've turned to goo.
I just want to bring some civility back to this commentary. Can we go away from
Get
the
out.
articles and talk
Okay.
about bathrooms again?
Oh no, not the
So I
toilet.
don't
We're
know.
back.
I don't know
Are
if
we
you
back
guys
to the
heard.
toilet?
Oh, I love
Yeah,
this analogy from the comments. Rob from Canada says this race is tighter than Teresa Tam's Adam's apple.
That's
Oh man.
brutal. So I don't know if you guys heard the story about the men's tampons in the military bathrooms.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they
Oh,
ran
sir.
out. They were completely out. So they thought initially that it was due to over demand, but then they found out that they were being thrown in the garbage, and now it's being investigated as a hate crime.
Oh,
Oh,
hey,
God.
nice, right? Hate crime.
Wow. Yeah.
These are
Well,
the
Which
big
yeah.
it's funny, like out of all the places you should have tampons, it should be in the military. They were originally designed to staunch the wounds, staunch bullet wounds, right?
That's
It's
not
the
true.
one place
That's
that makes
not
the most sense.
Is that true?
Yeah. I don't
Is that
know.
really true?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
'cause there
well, it
was
was-
one guy. Jordan Peterson writes about the guy who invented women's products.
No, it's a guy.
And-
It's a guy in India. So he invented a way to make them cheap enough for women in India. It's an incredible
Okay.
story.
Yeah, and like he went through a ton of hardship because everybody thought he was a weirdo. Like, why you want to
Well,
do
he
that?
was- you
Probably
know,
like
he
the
was-
first guy who milked a cow.
No, he was testing it out, Clyde. So he made a bladder for himself that he filled. I'm not kidding. This is real. He made a bladder that he filled himself with like ketchup and yogurt or something, and he was like trying it out and testing it. So, I mean, if you had to interact with this person, if this person was in your neighborhood, like, would you think they're a weirdo?
Like, just imagine,
Like
you know,
that or
you're
a bear suit, right?
you're
It's
mowing
like,
your lawn in your backyard and you look over the fence and you're like, oh, hey, Bill, what are you up to? And he just got this bladder full of ketchup and yogurt.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
gross.
because he was trying to like.
So,
study the
Yeah, no
absorption and
wonder
everything.
everybody thought he was crazy.
If you're
No,
just if
it's-
you're
Tuning in.
It's a
We're
real
gonna
story.
start
You guys gotta
vomiting.
look it up. It's a love story too, because his wife. It is. It is. I'm serious. So his wife divorced him over this because he became kind of a pariah in the community for obvious reasons. But then he became rich as a result of making these tampons, and she fell back in love with him, and they're back
Fell
together.
back in love with him.
It's true.
Once you got rich.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It's a real
Okay.
story.
okay,
yeah,
so
they
going
should make it into a movie starring Matthew McConaughey
going
and
back,
Jennifer
going
Garner.
back to the BC election, man, that was a wild tangent. It all started. I blame this on Anita and the glory holes because we took a hard turn. Okay, here's where it sits as far as we can see. As far as any updates, is 46 Conservative, 45 NDP, and I believe that says 2. My eyes miss 2 to the
You're
green.
right.
That's
Yeah, no,
right.
you're right. The new land bridge connecting Tawasin to Vancouver Island has shifted to green.
So I don't know. There you go. That's where we're sitting.
Okay, go back to green sky just a sec, or see
Yeah,
the
yeah,
sky rather.
See the sky.
So that's 66 to 9,000 and 9,600. So it
It
pretty
looks like
tight.
it's gonna go green, doesn't it?
Under
Yeah, but it's still pretty. Like you're within a few hundred votes.
Yeah, there's not very many seats right now that are under 500 votes differential. So the leading seats are mostly pushing over 1,000 votes, and you're starting to see like 13, 14, 15,000 votes on each one. So I'm thinking that the results that we're going to see aren't going to shift too much from here. We're only going to have a 1 or 2 seat move in the next, because we have 54% voter turnout now.
A 1 or 2 seat movement right now is literally going to decide the election.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
But we should figure out which those seats are. One seat that I find spectacularly surprising is Kootenay Central. And I just looked at their so the Kootenays are like, if you look at the Kootenays from Idaho, the East Kootenays are rednecked and the West Kootenays are like more liberal or more NDP, but the center usually goes conservative. So I'm surprised that, and that's the difference between a majority and the conservatives right now. It looks like there's an independent that ran there, which may have taken votes away from.
I don't want to be an alarmist, but
Corinne Maury.
Sorry, who's going to be an alarmist?
I don't mean to be an alarmist, but the thing, when I look at this map, the thing that concerns me the most is probably the complete disappearance of the Queen Charlotte Islands.
Where did they go?
Yeah, there you go.
Did Yellowstone erupt and nobody told us?
Yeah.
Let's keep it on board here, you gentlemen here.
Okay,
let's share
see.
my
Let's
screen for a second, if you
Sure.
want to.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I'll bring it up, Anita. Yep.
Okay, so just so that we can have a rational perspective, because this map was terrible. Okay, so here's a real map of BC, right? So, that's so.
Even that map has Vancouver Island connected.
Yeah, it does have it connected. That's not good. That's not good.
Yeah,
But it's at
that's
least
a Mercator projection.
Interesting, eh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is
Get
a very
your shit together, BC.
Well,
Yeah,
no, it's a very realistic.
No, get your shit
map
less
of what
together.
It will look like after the big
And
one. If you know
then-
anything about the Juan de Fuca tectonic plate
The big one.
and the big
Coming.
one that we're all waiting for, this is exactly what the province will look like.
Yeah,
with
and
a
then
30%
one of the
chance anytime
headlines-
between today and the next 100 years.
So we're back to
We're
back to 45 on the Conservatives and 46 on the NDP. Something just switched a second ago.
Oh shit! Did it?
Yeah.
Did it? Yeah.
And it is Kelowna Lake Country.
Okay, Kelowna. Kelowna is a big freedom fighting town. So I hope that
Harwinder Sandhu. You know who that is?
no.
He's
Sorry.
he's the incumbent NDP there, isn't he?
Vernon Lumby. I'm sorry, it's Vernon Lumby. Which I was
Right
kind
there.
of expecting.
Vernon Lumby, NDP at 11,000, and the Conservatives at 10,600. So they're
Vernon
600.
Lumby, what kind of
400.
name is that? No,
They're 600 behind now. Conservatives are 600 behind there.
Right.
Okay.
Gumby.
Now here,
So here's another story there. Kevin Acton was a United guy, or he was the guy that got kicked out. So Dennis Giesbrecht dropped in. So it looks like Kevin Acton is going to cost the Conservatives a loss here, by the looks of it. So he's
great.
one of the independents. So
Yeah. One
okay.
of the
What about?
headlines-
Yeah,
Yes?
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'll just finish. One of the headlines that they're just saying on the news, global news, is nail-biting finish anticipated for BC election as atmospheric river impacts polling numbers. Adding to the uncertainty, the most populated parts of the province have been swamped by torrential rainstorm, with some residents being warned not to travel. The atmospheric river has triggered numerous flooding alerts and power outages across the southern parts of the province, including the Vancouver area. And this reporter has more on the wet and dangerous conditions affecting this election day.
Yeah, they're probably saying that Conservatives should not travel.
But it's going to be the Conservatives that'll get in their trucks and
Well,
go.
that was
You know?
what Wyatt was saying.
Yeah,
Come
and
hell,
I
yeah,
think he's,
come hell or high water.
I think he's
but-
totally right.
because-
Can
yeah.
one of you
Anyway.
guys tell me where Maple Ridge East is? I kind of want to check in on them. They have this unique thing where since the riding was formed in 2001, whichever direction that riding went has also been the winning party.
Okay. Maple Ridge is like a growing suburb east of myself, so I would say
you
it's
have to
about
zoom in a little bit.
45 minutes
Is
away
it
from
in the lower mainland part?
Maple Ridge.
Yeah, it's the big one. It's right beside the green area. If you zoom on that green area, it's just to the south of it, and it cuts right into that big green one. It kind of sticks into that green one there from in the middle of it.
Maple
It's
Ridge.
a big
That's a
family
little below
place.
that,
A lot of families are moving there because they kind of had affordable houses
Go to
in
the
that
lower mainland section.
region.
Lisa Bear leads by 2,400 votes, so it's unlikely that that'll switch. Although we've seen some switching. Lisa Bear, NDP.
In Maple Ridge East?
Maple Ridge Pit Meadows, sorry.
Yeah.
Maple Ridge East is Lawrence Locke. No, he's leading by 300. The Conservatives by 329 votes.
Okay, so Maple Ridge Pit Meadows is conservative.
No, it shows NDP.
It's NDP. Maple Ridge East is showing conservative by 329 votes.
Oh, shit. Yes, it is. Yeah. Oh, shitty. Ugh. What does the big map say, though, now? Let's see. Let's go back to that.
I think Vernon Lumby.
Maple Ridge East right there.
Conservative Party 11,500 and
23,
and
against
NDP is
11,184.
Yeah.
Oh, 523. Yeah.
So is that the one that predicts?
That's the one that has
historically
since it became a riding 23 years ago. It has, whichever way that one has gone has been the way
the prevailing government has been.
So it's like the Ohio of BC kind of thing.
Oh no, it's like oh dear.
That's if you're hoping for the conservatives, Anita, they're winning. So it actually would be a good. What Tooz is pointing out is if that is the trend, this would point to the conservatives becoming the government now.
If you wanted them to win,
yes. If you wanted them to win, yes.
Yeah, she's a big NDP supporter.
Biased here.
Coquitlam Burke Mountain is very close at the moment. It's within 300 votes.
Just trying to keep it professional.
Yeah.
Rigor mortis says real men can drill their own glory hole.
It looks like Sonia Furstenau didn't win her seat, which is too bad.
Isn't that funny? Oh my God!
Oh, the Green Party lady.
Yeah, she didn't win her seat. Grace Lohr, who has a famous picture of herself on Twitter. If you would recognize the picture immediately if you saw a picture of Grace Lohr.
So first now switch. She used to be in Cowichan Valley, and now she's in Victoria Beacon Hill. And unless I'm mistaken, the Greens are losing in both those ridings.
It's ironic that the Green Party lady would lose, on a day when the election is taking place, but also coincidentally there was a climate catastrophe. So even if she doesn't win, she can wake up tomorrow with the smug self-satisfaction that she was right about the impending climate catastrophe.
When do Green Party people not wake up with smug self-satisfaction, though?
Yeah. Well, that's actually the story of this election, because everybody had the Green Party around 11%, and we've actually got Green Party around 8.5%. And if you think about that 8.5% versus 11%, 2.5% would have come off of the NDP, and that would have dropped their polling down to 42, and you'd see a massive conservative majority at this point. So it looks like strategic voting has swayed some of the final votes, and that's going to be able to allow the Green Party to hold the sledgehammer for a while here. So we'll have probably an unstable government unless something changes in the next little while here. So
regardless of what happens, if the NDP win, you will have an unstable government.
Yeah, but we'll have an unstable government that could end at any time versus one that will end in 4 years, right? So it's a fact that when you have a minority government, it rarely works out. Because as soon as the NDP feels it's had a Green Party, they are going to go ahead, and as soon as the Green Party feels like the NDP's falling apart, then they can call an election. So they're just waiting for it's like two dogs fighting over a bone, right?
Yeah, basically the only time we've had any substantial, in terms of longevity, minority government in Canada is the federal one that we're going through right now.
Yeah. It's funny how that works, eh? And kudos to Justin. Like, he knows how to stay in power. It doesn't matter what he does to the country. That guy is really good at creating narratives to keep himself in power. I mean, he's
definitely
amazing.
not a quitter.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
give up.
Not much of a self-starter either,
The
but
pandemic election, and then Gay was giving everybody money, and people feel.
Yeah.
I think they feel like they had to elect him or whatever. And a lot of people at the time were like, "Oh, he's doing such a good job. He's handling COVID so well. Everybody's getting the CERB and yada yada." And then he sort of bought himself more years.
handling COVID so well, he spent 6 months in his basement sitting on a beanbag chair, hitting the bong and eating Cheetos.
Yeah.
Probably
He would come out his front door, do a press conference, and then run back in. The guy didn't even shave for 9 months.
That's probably why Sophie left me. So
I know,
Could
but
you
the public,
imagine?
but the way he was being portrayed in the news was like, look at him, he's saving the day. Saving the day. That's
Could
how
you
he was
imagine if
being
your
portrayed.
HR people told you you are the most hated person ever in the history of this workplace? You know, I'd quit.
I would just leave. I'd be
that's
like, I
never
gotta go.
bothered me
Yeah.
at work, to be honest.
I'm not surprised. No. Okay. Well, what should we do? When do we think these things will? I'm getting
tomorrow.
live stream fatigue. Actually,
Well, you get into this goofy land of like you've been here for 3.5, almost 4 hours. Not that everybody's been a part of it for 4 hours, but certainly sitting on this side, it's you stare at it and we're neck and neck. I don't know, 46-45 right now for the NDP, and I mean all it takes is a polling station to come in, and all of a sudden it can flip the other way. But it looks. Who had, I go back to the predictions.
Mm-hmm.
Here were the predictions we had. Anita said Conservatives. Carson Binda from the Taxpayers Federation, who said whoever wins Surrey will win British Columbia. So Surrey was his
decider or something.
Yes, that's what he had.
Yeah.
And then Kat Canada said Conservatives razor thin. Well, I tell you what, we're about as razor thin as you're going to get.
Yeah.
And right now they're trailing. You had Liam in at 48 for the Conservatives. Well, I don't know if we're going to hold out that that's going to turn around here this late in the game. You had Wyatt Claypool say 75%. He was on board for 75%. He thought that the Conservatives would win. He didn't give just to win a majority. And then Clyde and Alex came in so late, I didn't even get their predictions. So that was the predictions there.
Yeah, I imagine if we asked them now, they'd say it's going to be a toss-up. So, and for those of you wondering about the CTF prediction, Surrey is fairly evenly split by the looks of things, without knowing exactly how many ridings there are offhand. It's this blue and orange part of the Lower Mainland, and so he's pretty right.
He's pretty right, isn't he? Like it's. I mean, at this point, it's tight.
Yeah. The big question right now is who's calling Sonia first, and who is she going to choose? Because if those results don't change, it's not guaranteed she's going to work with the NDP. Because you got to remember, John Rustad is the kind of guy that can make changes to things because his party is brand new, and he's also, having met with the guy, he listens and he changes his mind. He's very humble. I don't know if anybody else you met him, but he's a very humble. He's kind of like a sweet. Yeah, he's a sweet kind of a grandpa. It's kind of how I see him.
Mm-hmm.
He may just be able to.
Age will do that to you.
Well, just a certain type of personality. Like if you break the personality types into 4 types, he's a dove. Like there's eagles and roosters and owls and doves. He's the kind of guy that
Trudeau's a rooster.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an old saying that life is one long lesson in humility, right?
Well, you got to remember, Justin Trudeau was born to do what he's doing. Right?
You know
he was
who
born
I think,
to do that.
Just because of his height, I think that one of those back injuries at the Glory Hole may have been David Eby.
It's possible.
It's a long way for him to bend over. That's for sure.
No, I don't think that.
Yeah. I mean, so tomorrow when I get asked, what how was the live stream? They're like,
glory hole live stream.
Lots of glory holes. I mean,
we're never covering another BC election
ever again. Yeah, ever again. I mean, Gordon McGill had chimed in saying you ought to do another stream for the U.S. presidential election.
We are doing a stream
with
for the
extra
US
glory holes. It's going to be an even longer night. So
we should do it live on location at a glory hole.
Do you think that border wall that they built has any glory holes in it?
It's got glory slots, I guess.
Yeah.
What border
I can't
wall?
imagine why Anita is feeling fatigued. Sorry, Anita.
Mommy's
I'm thinking
tired
of leaving
now.
now, she says.
Mommy's tired. Anyway, let's see what's going 46, 45. This is getting depressing for me to pop my bottles of champagne. But I was watching a little bit of something yesterday, and you know that
we
I
could
guess
have a scotch.
we could
Well,
have
I don't know about what you folks are doing. We on this side, unless something crazy happens, we probably got about 20 minutes left. We're probably going to go
Yeah.
till 11 o'clock on this side.
Mhm.
If everybody wants to stick around with us for the last 19 minutes, have at her.
Okay.
And if something explodes, no worries,
Yeah.
we're not going to shut it down. But
Okay.
regardless, me
Yeah.
and Twos had this plan that we
Yes.
were going to have, a celebratory scotch here before we end it off. So that's what we're going to do right now.
You were
And if
gonna
you want to
drink-
join in, folks,
you were
you
gonna
just
drink
join in.
cartons of milk as your sponsor and then switch to scotch.
Oh,
I can't
correct.
possibly see anything
Like-
going wrong with that.
Correct. I had to line the gut first. I had to line it up.
bad idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get a wobbly pop for sure.
Do it. All right, here we go.
So we're going with the Obey. That's
Nice.
that's what we're gonna roll with tonight.
Little orangey and smoky. Good stuff.
Brett, would you care for?
Personally, more of a Ballantines guy myself.
Okay.
I don't know.
Do you ever wish that sometimes we were like how it is in the States, where you could just on the ballot, you would just see either EB, Rustad, First and Out, and then you choose who you want? Because like in the States, you can just choose the governor, right? But for us, we have all the little people that are in our ridings that we have to vote for people, but we generally don't know who those people are. We're voting for the party, right? We're not, do you ever wish it was like that? I guess it doesn't matter because it's not like
I
that,
wish
but-
I wish people engaged more in their politics. That's what I
Yeah.
wish. I don't want to make. I wish I don't want to have to simplify it so much that they just don't even have to think even more about it. It's like
yeah.
you should know who's representing you. So
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you can be like, what the heck are you doing? You suck.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody else.
And
That's
I
my
don't
thought.
know the person representing my riding because I don't know who he is, but I like the leader of the party, Yeah.
See,
Anyway.
that's tricky.
Hey,
'cause-
we're gonna cheers on this side. Hey, now I hope
Cheers,
hope the
everybody.
conservatives.
Here's to the map.
To all the people tuning in, the 7,400 plus.
Wow.
Wherever you're at, if you're popping drinking something, you can comment that too. Either
Yeah.
way, thanks for tuning in.
You're welcome.
I mean, we still
everybody
got
for
time here,
coming
but
on. We haven't left yet, but we really do appreciate the fact that you guys have decided to spend your evening with us.
well, the thing that me and Twos just on this side for 1 second, then we can go back to this comment or question. Sorry, not comment about if you just had it simplified. When we started this a year ago, this election live coverage, it was a lot of fun, and then we absolutely put a nuke bomb into like all the tech we had lined up for that day. That was a horrific day. Twos can tell you stories about how upset I was and frustrated I was. So this has been a lot of fun. I was in a very good mood tonight. I'm like nothing's messing this up. And so for all of you fine folks watching, and then of course here sitting tonight, Clyde and Liam and Anita and Zoltan, all you guys coming in,
everybody else
and then
who came
everybody
on.
else who joined in. That's what makes a good show. Like, I mean, as all of us get punted from different groups, we just, on this side, we just like pick you up. We're like, oh yeah, come on, come into
I'm
this
running
group.
this
And
stream on a generator as we contend with an atmospheric river. So thanks for rubbing it in that you guys are having such a fair weather day over there. And
we're having a fair weather
Hey, you
day.
know
It's
what?
pretty good
We're
over
about
here.
to get hit by a bastard of a blizzard in no more than a couple weeks, because that's how it goes. We're gonna get, you guys have an atmospheric river. We're gonna get a climate razor's edge right away here.
We actually
never
used to
heard-
call it the Pineapple Express. It's like it's a normal thing. And
Yeah.
every so
It
Is
many
that why
always
years.
Seth Rogen called the movie Pineapple Express?
it's also the
Yeah.
name of a strain of marijuana. Very
Yeah.
Right.
popular.
But yeah, it's the El Nino year. So the El Nino years, they come in. It's lots and lots of moisture, warmer temperatures. That's the way it is.
La Nina. You got to reverse, man. It's La Nina that brings the
La
rain.
Nina? Yeah, I always
La Nina.
confuse the two. But then, yeah, so Whistler, I'm sure, will get lots and lots of snow. All the resorts will get tons of precipitation. But they always run the risk in Whistler of the freezing level being too high. That's happened before, or they get rained out, stuff like that. But yeah, it's an event that happens on a cyclical sort of scale. You can watch it happen.
We thought we could stave it off with more carbon taxes, but
obviously we're not paying enough. Here's something interesting while we're looking at the map, though. You've got this fairly notable urban-rural divide where you've got a giant map that's almost entirely blue, except for a couple outliers and the densely urban areas. It's the same thing in the Alberta election, same thing in the last Saskatchewan election, mostly the same thing in basically the same thing in what's that little place that nobody likes? Manitoba. And and so it's interesting when you look at this, because I don't see this changing anytime soon. And in fact, I probably see the lines getting further or more firm on it as time goes on. Where does this take us?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I spent a lot of time thinking about that. I think what's going to happen is, like, you have a very high level of bias at universities right now. Like, a lot of people just learn about one thing, and then they end up in the cities and they end up with these certain jobs. And those jobs, typically government jobs, are concentrated in those areas. And so they're all good with this, right? We've seen a 70% increase in employment of public servants in British Columbia in the last 7 years. So they're voting in an intelligent way for them, because they got their pension on the line, they got their paycheck on the line, right? But at some point, you can't keep printing that money. You can't keep hiring those people. The 50% of healthcare that's being pushed away to non-healthcare things, that's not sustainable in the long run. So it collapses. But when it collapses, the trick is that the people in the rural areas can't, like, be punitive to the people in the city areas, because then they get mad and they go back to doing this thing, right? So I think we're at stage 2 of a 3-stage switch in BC here. The next election will probably go strong to Conservatives, but also the Conservatives now have a chance to get rid of all of their weaker candidates, organize themselves. They should have a leadership rally. John Rathad's a good guy, but he said, there wasn't really anybody to run against for the Conservatives, because nobody thought it could happen, right? And I don't think in his heart of hearts that he's really keen on the power. He just wants to do a good job. He's a good man, but he's also older, and he has a vaccine injury, right? So his health isn't ideal. So whatever happens, we're going to win next time, but you don't want to just do that, right? So we don't want to push back on those city people too hard, because they just push back on us when they get in, right?
Well, and it's funny. I met, actually, it was the same night I met Clyde, met John Rostad. And I remember thinking at the time, he's like, oh yeah, we're this new Conservative Party in BC and we're totally going to win. And I was just thinking, like, oh yeah, that's nice. I've heard about upstart Conservative parties before. That's wonderful. You're going to do great. And, I was polite about it. I wasn't a dick, or at least I don't think I was. But good on him for proving my thoughts wrong. And I just I'm glad I was wrong anyway.
It's amazing. We should all say, you know what, John Rastad, good job, man. Like, absolutely, nobody could have predicted this 6 months ago, right?
I mean, he revolutionized this party for sure. I mean, you cannot deny the work he did, the impact he made. I don't think he looked tired. He kept going to do all these speeches and campaigning. He ran on a lot of great things and a lot of changes he wanted to make. And, we're all behind it because it all made sense. So I think he had high energy and he was very measured and reasonable, and he deserves to be the leader of this province. It's what we need. If you're going to give any politician a shot, give that guy a shot. But these friggin' voters in BC are completely disappointing me with their stupid decisions. What's it going to take for people in BC to get a brain and bloody vote right? When
I think you know what you sound like right now. You sound like Hillary Clinton saying that all of Donald Trump supporters are deplorables. We just need to work on those people. They're people too. You know, it doesn't work to
too, but they're so apathetic and they drive me crazy. They're my friends and they still piss me off.
Yeah, but
maybe you should be more apathetic towards their apathy.
Let's bring them on board. Let's build this coalition. This big.
They don't want to come on board.
It's a Canada-wide
shit. You can kill them and poison them, and they don't give a shit. So that's what's going on. That's what I'm seeing here, and it is.
Yeah, I don't feel like that. I see. This is good news. Democracy is a contact sport. Everybody's way more engaged in democracy than we were 10 years ago. And we're going to have to get more engaged to get the results we want. But that's how it works. When you get lazy and you get 40% voter turnout, you get bad results, right? When you let the communists take over, they throw you in the gulag and they're telling you lies and you know that they're lying and they know that you know that you're lying and they just keep lying and nobody cares, right? So this is good. This is a positive step in the right direction. And honestly,
that's spin if I ever heard spin. But I mean, I guess you have to have a positive outlook on this. I'm just saying, I'm looking at this, I'm disappointed.
Democracy
is fighting.
Sport. Democracy is a contact sport. That's why I wear my helmet to the voting booth.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't want to.
I feel like a lot of people in BC wear helmets to the voting booth.
That's right.
I don't want to take away from
that's just because they wear them everywhere.
So I don't want to take away from John Rustad in saying this, but I don't think this was an election of people clamoring to vote for John Rustad because they're so enamored with everything that he's been doing.
Rustad mania.
Yeah, it's not a thing. It's really a condemnation of what the NDP have done in British Columbia. Is why a lot of people got up and said, no, I'm gonna vote now. I'm gonna get out there. I'm gonna say, engage with this political apparatus. And I think if John Rustad was more of a charismatic character, would that have changed things? Possibly it could have been, but it's more about the sentiment of what was happening in British Columbia. And this is the reason why the Liberals with the rebrand, it didn't work. They're the ones that kicked John Rustad out of the party for his opinions. And people were like, they took notice to that. And when he started and brought that, stuck to his guns the whole time and brought that to the Conservatives, they saw it more as like the Conservatives are people that are stick to their guns no matter what. Okay, I can get on board with that. It's not particularly John Rustad in particular, but he is that kind of character and he is that kind of person that brought that forward as like what the Conservatives stand for. We all know that the Liberals who turned into the United Party, they were just fly by the polls. Just like the Liberal Party in the federal government, fly by the polls. What do the polls say? We're going to go with the popular vote. NDP, well, they're going to go with what they want, and then also with the popular vote, as we saw when it started looking bad for them in polling leading up to this election. So, yeah, I agree with you over there talking about how. Sorry, I didn't catch your name,
William.
But. William, so I agree with you in the sense that this is probably a multiple stage type election ordeal. People are getting involved. People are going to be upset about this outcome, and they're going to say, I need to get more involved. I need to talk to more people because this isn't the turnout that I want to see moving forward. Even though it's a step in the right direction, it's definitely not a do all end all this election.
I would also say one thing that the Main Street poll, the last Main Street poll, showed that the mail-in ballots were heavily favoring the Conservatives. And somebody just put in the comments here that we haven't talked about the mail-in ballots yet. The mail-in ballots. This is a razor thin. I was on another thing with Yukon Strong here earlier today. It's like every vote matters, and this is an exact election where every vote matters. One person's vote makes a difference here, so it's not over yet. But I do think, and I want to say one more thing. David Eby is a smart man. He's many things, but he's smart. He's going to change his tack to try to win. I don't think he's going to walk away from trying to. He's not going to throw himself away. He's going to try to turn this around because he's already gone back on the carbon tax and involuntary care, on legalization of crack. He's going to be, whoa, wait a second here. We better fix some of our bad ideas. If he can, remains to be seen. But my hope is that this is a wake up call if you're in the NDP, because they were walking into this election with a super majority 6 months ago, right? The right wing vote was split. They could do whatever they wanted, and they did, and they're paying for it now.
Is it too late to submit my prediction?
I want to hear your prediction.
Actually, I told Clyde my prediction. Do you
Okay.
remember what my prediction was, Clyde, before we came on air?
You said the NDP were going to win it.
I said minority. Yeah, NDP Green minority.
Yeah.
For real? Yeah, well, you're probably not wrong. Yeah, and Clyde, you made very good points that people are so sick of what was that people just wanted change, and it did get people involved. Although I do think that this guy is the right guy. I don't know if being more charismatic would help or not or whatever, but I think he's got the right experience and the right know-how. He is the guy.
Okay.
You cannot change everything in a year, and he came so far in a year. And to Liam's point about maybe the NDP and David Eby will eat a little crow on their stupid policies, maybe not, but this is a very arrogant bunch, these guys, the NDP, and they're going to walk away going, hey, haha, see, we won, back to what we were doing. That's what
It's
I
looking-
Sonia Firstenau is not going to let that happen.
It's
Sonia
looking like an
Firstenau
early
is not
night.
going to
And
let that happen.
the crack pipe fans are going to be celebrating tomorrow morning.
yeah, they're
is the
going
way
to be
it's looking.
celebrating. Yeah.
And for you guys in Alberta and Saskatchewan, you don't know. You're not in BC. That's a major voting block in BC.
The crack pipe board.
I think I am.
Well, I mean,
quite
you've
openly
got to be
voting
high to
against
vote
how
NDP.
tight it is.
Yeah.
It's too tight. It's too close for comfort for me. It's like I can see
Classic
it being
vote bank
crazy.
politics. Appealing
But
to
they're
the crack
calling
pipe
me Hillary
fans.
Clinton. That you better take that back.
Or what? You're going to do something
What do you
Hillary
think I
Clinton
eat
to him?
babies? Baby eating Hillary. Anyway.
Hillary, what?
Anita, we
Whatever.
love you on this side. Well,
right.
We're all people.
That's fine. Oh, you sound like Hillary. Oh, what? Anyway,
Oh,
I'm just disappointed.
Hard to nerve, though.
Oh,
Yeah,
but
well, I
we
mean,
want to
in
win those
fairness-
people over. Win them over.
fairness-
Let's figure out how to win them over. Let's figure out how to win that next 5% over. And part of that is understanding
In 4 more years,
why
let's figure out how to win them
No.
over in 4 more
Oh.
years.
it's a minority government. It's a minority government. I can't see that changing. That was
Any
predicted by a
Liam's
lot of
going to
people.
commit suicide with 2 shots to the back of the head right away here, I think.
We're gonna set him.
If anybody wants to buy login equipment, I got lots of it for sale. So
Yeah.
Any
Oh,
updates
God.
on if CBC has reopened the comments?
Um,
Do you think
Yeah, right.
No, this is the problem: is that since they got defunded, they don't have enough money for it.
Well, why
And
don't-
also, so David Edwards, we've had this up for a little while,
Oh,
super
God,
chat, and that's
46,
awesome. Thanks for that.
45.
But
I
he
think
said
I'm
we're
texting
talking
him.
like it's over. It isn't over yet. Mail-in
No.
still needs to be
Not over.
counted. It ain't done. Keep in mind that in Canada, we use Canada Post.
Well, you know
So
what? If CBC is going to close down their comments, why don't we open up our channel? Have all the people watching at home right now tell us, how do you feel about the CBC? What would you say if the comments were open?
Yeah, there you go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jump in the
Imagine
chat,
for a
jump in the
second that
chat,
we're the
say what you would-
CBC and the comments are open, which they are. So you don't have to imagine that part. But the comments are open, and imagine we're the CBC.
I'll
Go.
be Chantal Hebert.
we
Oh.
got so many channels open right now. With comments.
Okay, I'll be Althea Raj.
okay, sweet.
So you
I
got
can be,
CBC.
listen-
You got Dan
Mark
Proctor
Ruben.
saying CBC sucks.
We hate the CBC. Fuck the CBC.
Oh, how dare
defund the
you.
CBC. The
Nice.
CBC is communist.
I can't even
Canada
keep up with them
Post
here.
won't
They're
be
just they're
confirmed for
flying.
weeks.
This is why the CBC turns
CBC
it
is
off.
gay.
Yeah.
It's a communist Trudeau. And
CBC.
I miss the old CBC. I miss the CBC was great when I was a kid.
When
Oh,
we were
yeah.
kids, sure.
The
Yeah.
CBC was
outrageous.
great for
Yeah,
like
but-
10 minutes in 1937.
you had Peter Mansbridge 1 minute, and then like Kenny versus Benny teabagging each other like the next.
Yeah.
It was amazing for a little
It
while.
was a
And then
spectacular
Coronation
game.
Street.
I think that was actually the same show.
But once again, those university educated urban types took over CBC. They took over the institution. They've taken over the BC NDP party from the blue collar, hardworking guys and women that have to work hard too. And so like this is something that we're going to have to figure out in society. Like those people need to be sort of they need to realize their ideas are bankrupt, and we need to move forward with a better plan, right? And casting dispersions on them isn't necessarily the solution. I think it's being honest and saying, hey, like actually. Increasing the supply of drugs will not support our drug problem. Well, it will support our drug problem. It'll make it worse.
And I just don't think they're that self-reflective, these people.
I don't think so either. But at the same time, they're voters. The only way we're going to change this is to change how they vote and reaching out to them in a genuine.
You know, we said at the end of this to end this off 4 hours in. We said to end this off, we were going to talk revolution.
Oh yeah, we're gonna drink scotch and talk revolution.
Oh,
yeah,
I mean, right. and Anita's got her bubbly. She's all fired up.
Right? Oh, she is sparking.
Yeah, she's sparking.
She's like a train putting on the brakes.
Up, right?
It was great.
I
it's great.
Well,
I like this because
much to fire me up. I'm very disappointed in what I'm seeing come down, but I guess I expected it. But anyway, yeah, go on.
And Anita, thank you so much for leaving Global and showing the entire world that mainstream media is now legacy media, and legacy media is increasingly less important. But you know what this is? This is direct democracy in work, right? I don't agree with everything that everybody said on this thing, but this is direct democracy, and I can respect each other's opinions and move towards a place where we can solve those problems. And I think it's awesome that Shawn's doing this podcast. It's awesome that you got Twitter and all these other spaces. We can have these real conversations, because for too long, conversation was controlled, and the people that were controlling the conversation had no clue what the rest of the world was experiencing, and that's changing. And this is good, right?
And this is good that there's other platforms to get a message out rather than just 3 broadcasters or whatever. But the 3 broadcasters are still incredibly biased and misinforming the people, which is a huge disappointment. And it does shape the minds of people. And I know that they do that on purpose. And the good thing is that a lot more people know that now.
It must be
and honestly,
for people to come here.
CBC's market share is in the toilet.
On the BC
and
election.
same with Chorus, same with Global. All their shares are in the toilet, and there's such a backlash about it. But you can't help a lot of this with the normal people, that they still see these headlines and see these things and hear stuff on the radio when they're driving kids to school, that it gets in their mind. So when they go voting, they just kind of they're not informed enough to make a good decision.
I heard there's a new prime minister in waiting that's going to eliminate funding for these companies, and then they'll probably disappear, and then it'll be replaced with 1,000 podcasts, right? It's the future is this. There's 10,000 people listening.
I just wanted to say,
for podcasting. Yeah,
I agree wholeheartedly with everyone. This is by far the most unbiased, objective, and professional BC elections coverage going on right now.
I think so. It's authentic.
It's authentic. We all are very like-minded.
It is definitely unscripted.
I want to add to this because I agree with what you're saying, William, about the
it's Liam.
Oh, sorry, Liam. My bad. Apologies for that.
Liam and William are the same.
I agree with what you're saying. How the legacy media, they were the ones, and they discovered that all of these people weren't paying attention, or were paying attention before. Now they are not paying attention. What I'd like to add to that, though, is now what they've discovered is they no longer have a grasp on the narrative anymore. What they figured out is that they were the ones that were
the narrative.
They were the narrative, and it wasn't a case that they were trying to create a conversation piece. They were trying to propagandize people, and they pushed further and further and harder in that effort as this new media has been coming in to do it. And the harder they try, the more transparent it gets. And it's great. It's great. I applaud them for doing that, because it's helping us so much more to draw more and more audience to what it is that we're doing. So I totally agree. This is the direction that we should be going. And as they push harder, it just becomes more and more apparent. So kudos to them for letting the cat out of the bag. So awesome.
We have to fight for democracy. Yes. We have to fight for democracy. And that's what this is. And all of our ancestors have fought overlords that were over top of us and stole our corn and stole our potatoes and sent us off to horrible wars. We have to fight back against those groups. And honestly, like the legacy media is done. Like, they're not going to be around in 5 years. This is what's going to be around. And hopefully that leads to a new era of direct democracy. And you know what? All the ideas at the table here tonight, they're not all right. We need to work and always be improving. Yeah. right? Like all my ideas are perfect, but like we need to work towards something all the time, right? We didn't win, so why didn't we win? Let's fix it and let's win next time, right?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. And the good news is that most of the people who stole our ancestors' potatoes and sent us to war are dead.
Yes, that's good.
They're never lived
I do
on.
like that. And their
And we killed
descendants
some of
are a bunch of inbred monarchs.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, David Edwards brings up a good point. In reality, we may not know for days. There could be recounts. I imagine there's going to be a few recounts, and it doesn't take much for one or two of them to change.
Yep.
And then Trish Pruill says, if the people who voted independent had voted conservative, the conservatives would have more votes. I've got to respectfully disagree. Well, technically that's correct. I got to respectfully disagree and say that nobody is entitled to votes at all. If you haven't earned that vote and you don't get that vote, that's not on the voter for not voting on you. That's on you for not doing a good enough job of presenting your ideas or presenting ideas that accurately reflect their priorities.
Yep.
I know Corrine is going to get a lot of hate though. And like, I know Corrine, and I'm going to have her on the show probably about this because that right now the NDP is winning in her riding.
Yeah. Was she a conservative leaning independent?
No, she was an independent completely. Yeah, she ran on, independence for medical workers. She was one of the fired nurses, and she's been standing up for them for so long. And she ran independent. And the conservatives were saying, "Don't do it. That you'll vote split."
What is everybody? I just saw this one come in from Bighorn 99. By the time we have another election, we will all be completely censored. What is everybody's thoughts on that?
No, the reverse.
It's gone too far right now. You would have to go so far overboard to shut all of this and all of us and everybody else who's doing this, but not quite as prettily as us, down. That it would just be you couldn't do it aside from basically just saying like, oh, the internet gave out and the only thing still working is CBC and hoping everybody bought it.
Do you know what? Keir Starmer, the new prime minister of the UK there, like he got a landslide election, right? And his popularity is about 55% approval rating when he got elected. After 100 days, he's at 17% because he's put people in Facebook jail, right?
Yeah.
Like people.
He literally just jailed somebody for thought crime.
For praying.
But his popularity now, if they had the election today, his party would lose after 100 days. That's how fast it happened.
He's another guy I couldn't believe got in either. It's like, who voted for him? How is this even happening? It just boggles my mind. That just goes to show what people know and what people don't know and how people think. It's crazy.
The good news.
Mm-hmm.
So the good news about the way government functions and the way the government works, when they try to do something, there's always the laws of unintended consequences that occur. Every step along the way, as Justin Trudeau's government has been pushing bill after bill to try to censor free speech, lock down the news, make sure that only his message has gone forward. Bill C-18, perfect example. It backfired massively on them, and now their propaganda outfits, they can't even be on Google. You can't find them on anywhere on Meta products. It just won't be out there. Instagram, Facebook, all of that stuff. The only people there are independent media like us.
You're absolutely right. And if you look at
is actually going to work out in their benefit. So yeah, they can try, and we'll find ways around it. And this is the way it's going to go.
Well, the thing about it is that government sucks at everything they do. Yeah. And this is a perfect example. And when you look at the federal polling trends, so that got enacted in roughly July last year, if I remember my timeline correctly.
Yeah.
And if you look, it's all pretty even for the Liberals. And then at the end of July, things just started tanking downwards, and they haven't stopped yet. And isn't it interesting that you can look at a graph of the Liberals' support, and you could point to the day that they enacted that exact bill that Clyde's talking about?
Yeah,
exactly.
Bill C-18 was the Communications Act.
The one that really concerns me is the National Food Program.
Yes.
Because how long is it going to be until these kids start diverting the toxic food supply? Selling it to the homeless, trading it for drugs.
Trading it for better food.
Yeah, better food. I need some carrots because this sugary slop that they're feeding me just doesn't go.
These sugar-coated crickets.
I'm actually
Hey,
terrified.
listen,
of Bill
I gotta
C.
set the record straight. Lobsters are insects. Lobsters are insects. Just so you guys know, I'm not. You can't be.
They're
totally
arachnids, and
Yeah.
arachnids are not insects.
Okay, all right. Well, close, right?
Well,
like
what do you
lobsters.
guys think? Are we going to get a result tonight or what? Or do you think we're
No.
going to have to go to mail
They
in?
absolutely
Next week. Next week.
Next week. You think next week it'll come
Monday,
in?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then there's going to be a lot of phone calls between EB, Firstenau, and Rustad. And Rustad might just win that because he's
Are we gonna be able to call this tonight?
No.
I don't think.
No,
so.
we're gonna go
not.
24 hours straight until this is done. Anita.
Yeah.
Nobody
We're not
goes to
stopping.
the
Buckle up,
bathroom
folks.
until the recounts are completed.
Get your crack pipes ready, everyone. This is going to be an all-nighter.
Wait. I just got to go down to the vending machine and grab one here. So
Yeah,
no, they're free at the
exactly.
vending machine.
We appreciate you guys all hopping on and giving us time tonight. I'm talking to the 7,600 people tuning in right now. To all you fine
700.
folks for hopping on. We are. I mean, that's the thing, Anita. Here's the thing. We could sit and do this till 2 a.m.
Okay.
And twos would do it. But at the end of the day, we're not going to. There's going to be a high chance that we.
I'm all jacked up on Red Bull and Lagavulin.
Yeah, I know. Twos doesn't have to coach my U7 hockey practice first thing tomorrow morning. He gets
You
to
do?
sleep in.
Oh
Yes.
Oh, you have
Yeah,
to get
yes.
up? Yeah.
Oh yes. 8 a.m. hockey practice with a bunch of 5 and 6 year olds. I tell you what, that'll be herding cats and they'll be grumpy and probably crying and a whole bunch of
Yeah,
other things. So
yeah,
it'll be a fun
yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
But I deal with
Yeah, but enough
twos
about
on
the
a daily
coaches.
basis, so I'll be all right.
Yeah.
Hey?
Okay. So
I didn't
well,
get
herding cats.
called Hillary Clinton tonight. I got called. What did you call me at the
Oh!
start?
I didn't
That
call
was
you
rude.
What did you?
anything.
What did I get called tonight?
Jericho said that you were my nagging wife.
I was the nagging wife. That's what I got called
Yeah.
tonight, Anita. So
No,
I
yes.
feel your pain.
Oh,
All right, I feel your pain.
I know that was I know you feel my pain. You're very sensitive. I can tell. Like not sensitive. You're very intuitive.
Please don't
You're
cancel
an
me. Please
empath.
don't
I
cancel me.
can tell.
Well, there
You
was a
are.
very
I can tell by your
enthusiastic
personality.
chat over on my side, Anita, for you. Burger Bob jumped in with a big super chat saying, Anita, 100% with you, and we'll get the right vote in 2025. And you are forever my love of glory. LOL, love you.
Thank you. Too. You've made my night. There you go. Unlike Liam, who's in my bad books.
Burger Bob's in your good books.
Hey, it's about freedom of speech, right? It's about freedom of speech, and we should be
Well,
nice.
you
right?
don't get to call me Hillary Clinton.
I said you
You're gonna have to
sounded like
retract
her.
that statement.
Okay, well, I'll retract that, but we shouldn't
Yeah.
cast dispersion on the people that we want their votes next time. So let's figure out how to get them.
Cast
So-
dispersion. They need to take responsibility and start stepping up and learning things,
You're right
right? That's the whole
Well,
problem. It's their responsibility. If you know by now that the media is lying to you, it is on you not to come home from work and watch Netflix and then do online shopping. That's
Yeah.
what my girlfriends do, but they don't know shit. And it's like,
I'm glad I
that's
live
what
in a
pisses me off.
democracy. I'm glad I live in a democracy and we
You
can have
barely
different
live in
ideas.
a democracy. We're
Hey,
barely a democracy.
once again, as the guy kind of half quarterbacking tonight, although you got an idea and then we get down, I'm not going to say it again because it'll be like the 18th, it'll be the 18th time I say glory holes tonight. The amount of times that came up, Chase Barber dropping, what did he say about Bonnie Henry?
Oh, I don't even.
Sucking
that we
dick.
said
I've been sitting
she
here
doesn't
for
even-
4.5 hours drinking Red Bulls and scotch. It's all blurring together. I'm gonna have to listen to this again and be like, "Oh wow, that was a really funny thing."
When Chase Barber said that I was like, "Oh my god, where have
Yeah.
we?" We were heading here and went over
He
there. So
said
this has
that.
been a wild ride. This is live. There's no holds barred on this side.
Yeah.
This is life. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you
Yeah.
all for hopping
Absolutely,
on
everyone.
here. Enjoy the conversation. I enjoy all the different opinions. Honestly, it's refreshing. It's great to have
Yeah.
This is fun.
people sit and chat about some things. It's great.
It's
So
good to have a little argument too once in a while.
Oh,
It makes it all
100%.
fun. Yeah. Okay, but here we are. We're gonna probably wrap it up because I think I'm gonna go because Mummy's getting cranky. But then I think here 46.
No.
46. No. 46 NDP, 45 conservative. If that's where I got it, I better
Two
open that
greens.
another bottle. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, that's a shame. I'm a little disappointed, but hey, it's not over yet.
It's not
Right?
over
It's
yet.
not over yet.
My riding is leaning green. I'm upset.
Hey, Anita.
Hey,
If anything, T-Short says
Thank
you
you,
win. You win the rant. Okay.
It's
There you
not
go.
over till
Sure.
Sarah Hoffman sings.
Oh, that Sarah Hoffman. Who's that? The Bangles woman? No,
Yes,
I
but
don't know
not
that.
what you're thinking.
Susanna Hoffs. Oh, that was Susanna Hoffs. I'm thinking of. Never mind. Okay.
It's all good. Oh, now we
Anyway.
figure out how to put the names up.
I know. I'm like, I've been trying to
4
get it
hours
to work.
later.
I've been trying to get it to work the entire time, and it wouldn't work. You know?
wrong like 5
Sean, you
times
had one
tonight.
job. One job. You gotta get it to work. Yeah, I finally got it. Finally got it in the ticking seconds here. All right, I'm gonna slowly exit some people out. Liam,
I think
Clyde, Alex, Anita, thanks for hopping on and doing this. Appreciate it.
You were
And
so welcome.
Thank you so much,
It
everybody.
was
Thank
so
you.
You're
lovely
welcome.
to spend time with you guys, and thanks to all the people who watched and I hope you enjoyed it. And
Yes.
stay strong, dudes.
I
Thank
would
you.
definitely say this is live election coverage that did not suck.
Yes.
Did not
Yes.
suck. We don't suck.
We don't suck.
And you know what, guys? If
Okay.
you're ever in the mood, come down to BC. Come give us a visit. Grab yourself a crack pipe. Sit down in the park.
Yep.
You know, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. We'd love to have you. So
That's
Okay.
right. Chin chin.
You know what happened to the Romans, hey?
Yeah, they ruled for 1,000 years.
And then
Night,
the
night,
barbarians took
everybody.
them.
I'm
then
packing
society-
it in. Love you guys.
Too many
Bye.
glory
Thanks,
holes.
Anita.
An entire
Okay.
civilization collapsed.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Clyde. Thanks, Liam. And that just brings us back to us two Yahoos. What did you
Oh,
think of that?
That was an absolute riot. That's probably more fun than we have on the Festivus specials.
Yeah. So from this side, if you enjoyed tonight, we're going to be coming back on October 28th. We got Saskatchewan live election coverage. So that's our
We
next.
should have been plugging this hours
Yeah,
ago. but
what are you going to do? You're going to wait till the end. We got 7,400 people still watching,
Okay.
still
all
hanging
right.
out. So we got live election coverage on October 28th. That's going to be
That's
Saskatchewan. It's going to be a
Saskatchewan.
whole new cast of characters. We're going to be picking on Saskatchewan folk this time. And then November 5th, we're going to, why not talk about the
Yeah.
U.S. election?
Well,
so,
I mean, the Saskatchewan, it's going to be hard to pick on Saskatchewan people because when it comes to Saskatchewan jokes, you can always see them coming from a long ways off.
that was a dad joke right there, but I still enjoy it.
So Saskatchewan and then US. I
If
don't
you're
think we're going to
Albert-
cover. I don't think we're going to cover Nova Scotia. I can't put that
No,
together
no,
in 2 days.
If you're from Alberta, we're going to be at the UCP AGM November 1st, 2nd. So that should be
Yep.
interesting. And that's interesting. Look at this. Okay. It says Sass Party has it in the bag. NDP is dead in the province. That's not what the polling shows.
That's not what the polling shows.
polling
and that's
shows
actually not what Polymarket says either.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. And here's one we'll see on the 28th. Awesome, Tamo.
Yep.
Whatever I said.
Honestly, I hope every single one of you guys comes along.
Yes. And I'm spacing on the name. I'm going to look it up before I forget it.
Oh, you're going to say it wrong anyway, whatever the hell we're talking about.
Candace and John, thanks for being, our sponsors of
We
tonight.
appreciate that.
Six Rock Dairy, Armstrong, BC. If you're ever in need of ice cream sandwich, go see their daughters. They're two young girls that make probably the best ice cream cookies under the sun. They were fantastic. So they're well worth the drive there. So if you're in BC, that's where I would head to. Either way, that's going to spell the end of tonight. Certainly, we're all going to wait and see what happens as we shut it down right now. We can pull up the map one more time. Brett, it still says 40, still the same thing. 46 for the NDP, 45 for the Conservatives, and 2 for the Green. Am I correct on that?
That's what it says.
So,
yep.
In one essence, twos, the Green is going to hold a lot of power. So if you go back to Chase Barber's comments and them being common sense and having, hey, who knows? Who knows? Maybe it'll be great. Maybe it won't. I don't know. Either way.
It's interesting. without being somebody who knows really anybody involved, I could see them making a decent argument for wanting to say, okay, well, you know what, we'll let Ebby be premier, but we're not really going to let them pass any bills that we don't like, and they would probably side more with the Conservatives. This is the same thing that essentially happened in the 2017 election, where you had the Liberals deciding the majority.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they were literally the tipping point and the deciding factor in making Horgan the premier over, not Christy Clark, was it? But or was it Christy Clark? Anyway, yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing to keep track of in the next few days.
Well, I tell you what, regardless, October 28th, that's the next time we're going to do this right away. You know, I'll say this, you know, when I started this, I'm sure Two's maybe had similar thoughts, but when I started this podcast, I didn't realize there was like an election season. It didn't even dawn on me. And then when we're like, well, you know, because we talked about this a year ago, we're going to do BC, Saskatchewan, the U.S. election. I'm like, oh my God, look at my calendar. This is going to be messed. Like, this is going to be a ton of work and whatever. And the nice thing is we ironed out a ton of problems tonight.
Yep.
And hopefully come October 28th, once again, we're going to have a crazy guest list. It's going to be a fun, like Saskatchewan's going to be straight balling, right? Like, I think it's going to be straight fire. It's going to be a lot of fun.
We're going to pull a page from Deadpool's book and get Toothless Timmy from Saskatoon on the show.
Regardless, thanks for tuning in. Twos and I's are going to sign off. I said I was going to do this all night, and then I kind of forgot about it. That's
what were you going to? Oh yeah, dude, I'm not doing it as obnoxiously as you, but I've been, you know.
It's going to spell the end. Thank you to Jericho. He was in producing at the start. Now we got Brett in. So the two boys making sure that things smooth, you know, a lot of chaos. As Anita said right off the hop, she was right. We were talking about having issues. She was right. We got stuff goes wrong. You're live streaming. What are you going to do? To Six Rock Dairy for sponsoring this. If you're a Saskatchewan company and want to sponsor the upcoming Sask election, reach out because we'd love to have you. And to everyone else, just mark it in your calendar. Look forward to talking the Sask election. That's what we're going to do on this side. And look forward to having a ton of fun. This
Jerry
was a ton
Case
of fun
is like, share, and subscribe. We don't ask that nearly enough. If you enjoyed this, we talk about the news every Friday.
That's true. The mashup, Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. You can see us a heck of a lot more if you want.
Yeah.
That'll do it, folks. Okay, and tell you what do we want?
Well, we do that thing at the end where we point silently at the pieces of paper we had while they play the credit. Jeez, it's like it's your first newscast.
Oh, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Folks, it's always a blast here on the Mashup, and we're glad you enjoyed and came out to our Mashup election coverage. Until the 28th, we'll see you.